I am extremely excited. Atomic is a really beautiful variant. If you haven't played it before, welcome. Pieces explode. It's very fun. That's the nutshell rules, but we'll go more in depth as we, you know, start looking at the games and the board state. But do we have a bracket that we can pull up so we can show people? Hmm. Oh yeah, you go, man. We got 8 players who have qualified to this championship. Six of whom won their a play-in event essentially, and two who won streamer prizes in weeks 3 and 6 of the VCS cycle. So there you go. 2650. He is phenomenal. Hey, hey, humble brag. I love it. Got him on speed dial. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, yeah. He's very dedicated to Knight F3 and Atomic. Now, Atomic chess demands a very different opening repertoire than regular chess. There are very immediate threats that White can present. Um, so Black has some very narrow paths depending on what opening we're talking about. And some openings for some defenses are simply not playable at all. Knight f3 is thought to be like the best move. So I don't know that we're going to see a Wonder deviate a lot from the games that he played. He won week 6 with 54 out of 60 score. Very intimidatingly won every single game with the white pieces where he played Knight f3. So that is what I expect to see from him. Yeah, so I actually like this matchup the most out of everything. I think that the winner of this match between Liang and Fan should maybe just be the favorites of the event. Johan might not have the classical chess um, prestige that some of the other players in this event do, but he is the most accomplished player of this 8. He has over 500 games on our site. He is a top 10 player in atomic chess. And he definitely earned his spot with a 52 out of 57 score in week 3. I suspect that he's going to give A Wonder a very tough fight. They did meet once before, and A Wonder did win, but it's going to be interesting. Mhm. Yeah, I think they're all pretty balanced, to be honest. Matt Rogov versus Emilio is a really great one. Emilio got here by being a top streamer in week 3. He scored 41 out of 50 for that tournament, and Matfi scored 40 out of 47. That's a really balanced match. They both have over 100 games played in Atomic for us. Um, I think that Yosef is going to have his hands full with Nikolaus. That one I don't know is going to be, that might be the toughest one.
Yeah.
Yosef, of course, is a very fantastic player, a regular in Bullet Brawl, and a frequent winner, but his speed and skill can't fully
Yeah, it's
replace
not
the
perfect.
experience. Yeah, and Nikolaus is an extremely tricky player who won games with both white and black when he did play Yosef in these VCS series. So
So
I think that's going to be tough.
the heavy favorites are the people with the white pieces, right? I mean,
Yes.
you've said that like there are a lot of tricks with black and there's a lot of ways to sneak
Hmm.
about, but it's not as nice as normal chess. You could say where like the white piece is like okay, yeah, they like it's all chess is a draw, but like atomic
Hmm.
chess is like nah, it's
Atomic chess can be drawn. So it can be a draw, but it is not a draw. However, computers tend to say that white is anywhere from +2 to +3 in the opening phase, but it's not so easy. And even that might not be fully correctly assessed by engines. Um, there's a lot of tricks and defensive resources Black can play. Because pieces explode when they're captured, the idea of interposing a defender becomes critical. Um,
A human
a
shield,
piece that exactly, it's
if
a
you
meat
will.
shield. Like,
Oh
you know,
man.
a piece. So, imagine in a position where white has played d4. In some positions where the c pawn has moved for black, there's this queen a5 check,
Hmm.
right? Queen a5 check can be met with b4. And whereas b4 is often on pre, it would not be an atomic because if queen takes pawn, she blows
Yeah,
up.
it's over for the queen.
So
The queen's like extra fragile almost in this like.
exactly, it's an extremely difficult learning curve up front. But once you get the hang of it, you start to see a lot of the beauty in combinations. And I think we're going to see a lot of really high level atomic play here today. So it's going to be very exciting.
I'm excited. I mean I've played some atomic chess games, but and I've watched a little bit of the Variance Community Series, but this is going to be my full blown crash course. I You were saying that was it Johan has like 500 games played at least or something like
Oh,
that?
yeah.
And how many games do you have played? That's a question we got to know the answer to.
Uh, Not a lot here on our variant server, which we continue to work on, but um, not so many. But in my lifetime, I used to play a ton of Atomic Hack in the 2016, 2018 years. I probably have 2 to 3 thousand games played in that period. So,
It's pretty.
um,
It's
and
pretty.
that's like rated games. I'm not counting like unrated bullet atomic, which is incredibly fun, uh,
That's
because then the
chaos.
number would jump up a ton.
I mean, yeah,
Um,
bullet is already chaos to begin with, and now you're gonna
yeah.
add in the
Oh
pieces
yeah, and the
explode,
dirty pre-move tricks with atomic when pieces explode. Oh my gosh, the dirty tricks are just so powerful.
dude.
Very fun.
I'm excited to see some dirty tricks and be on board with them. I know we've got one game started. I think
We do,
Yosip
and I
and
pulled it up right
Nikolai.
here.
Yeah, let me head over to
Let's
that.
just
Boom. Let's
jump
see.
in real quick, cover this opening. Now, this is what I'm talking about with knight f3. For those who are new to atomic, because you can explode the opponent's king, there's more than just checkmate to win. This is really important to note because f6 is one of two moves that black can really play against knight f3
It's so funny because F6
because
is like a bad move.
you throw everything you know out
Yeah,
the
nah, it's
window
gone. Okay,
because
it's
we're in
gone.
atomic, baby. It's gone. So, like, say that black was to play c5. White would then play knight to e5, and you would not be able to stop a capture which explodes the king. It would be game over. So you must stop the knight from entering e5. Likewise, the knight jumping in aggressively here is being stopped by c6. This is an opening we're going to see a lot. This sacrifice is also very well known because once this knight is taken, a move like e3 and bishop b5 would target the d7 pawn, again causing this king to have to run. This is a well-known trick, attacking the b5 square with a knight. And here we go, bishop b5 is played, knight c6. There are some lines where when the queen is already out, she'll swing and then play to b6. I wonder if we're going to see that. And we just have a very normal atomic position,
And
very dynamic play.
yeah, and so the bishop doesn't want to be captured because
It would
why?
blow up this, you
Yeah,
would
it would
blow up
blow
your
up the other
bishop.
bishop. Yeah, so you're losing your
All
own
of
piece.
these,
Yeah.
exactly. All of the squares around the capture explode except for pawns who are not involved in the capture.
Honestly, that's you're highlighting. I mean, it's 9 squares, right? That's a pretty huge chunk of the
Boom.
board. Like,
And even here, you see, this is essentially a knight trade
yeah,
where white is also getting some activity, but it's not very clear black threatens to
to win the
explode.
game. Yeah.
Now, note that if bishop takes bishop, this pawn would not explode. As said before,
Mm.
even though the radius, pawns are not impacted unless they're the one being captured or capturing, which is exactly what happens.
So yeah,
And now we're
that's
up
a
to
clean
speed.
trade. Yeah, and this is where
Mm-hmm.
they're at. And
And this is where they're at. And I do like white's position quite a lot. Um, I think one of the major issues black will have here is that at some point, if white were to capture and open this D file, the complications for this queen quickly getting at the black king could be decisive.
it feels like neither player's castled here. It feels like it's castling not a good idea. Is that why they're staying in the middle? It's easier to
Well,
impose pieces.
castling can be very good to hold in your back pocket. It is still a good defensive move, but it's not something that you want to prioritize like in regular chess. In normal chess, you're taught control the center, get your pieces active, and then get your king to safety. In atomic chess, it's a little different. you kind of actually want to control the flanks a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
These diagonals, which get at the king for white, and you want to defend them as black. So you're actually kind of throwing that on its head already. You want to control the flanks. You want to get your pieces active, but that activity might look a little different. And then in terms of getting your king safe, you kind of actually don't want your king shielded by pawns. Because if there are pawns around your king, they can explode.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. It feels like you almost want your king to be as isolated as possible.
Which is
Because
exactly
what
what
are
we see here
checks
by
really
Yosef.
doing? I like a lot of the time,
Exactly. Some things to note is that, well, look at this, is that check is not, you do not have to respond to check. If you can blow up their king while you're in check, you win the game. So if you can imagine that, like, if this queen,
Oh wow,
like, so
yeah,
like, let's say that there were two queens here and here. The white queen is here and the black queen is here.
yeah.
Say black has played the move check. White does not need to respond. White would be able to play takes pawn and explode the king and win the game. This is really important in Atomic. Checks do not have to be responded to if you can explode their king.
But only in that position, only in the situation where you can explode their king. Otherwise, you have to respond to the check.
I suspect we will see that at least once today, where a player kind of forgets that
That's
check is
this is a
not having to
hilarious
be because
like
it's ingrained.
this is a hilarious queen hang right now that we've got
Yeah,
going.
because it's a trade.
Yeah, it's a
Because it's a
trade.
trade.
It's just
It's not on free.
yeah, which is so funny to me because I play these kinds of moves, in regular chess. So I'm
Yeah.
glad to see that it's not as bad in atomic chess.
White may need to take here. The threat of queen c2 is extremely large. For instance, if black were to play queen c2 and get an extra move, he would then play queen here, which is checkmate on the spot. Because the king cannot run away, the queen would have to be captured, which would blow up white's king. Okay, queen c2 though. Um,
Wow.
I thought queen
And
c2
then
was
like yeah,
just winning
is there
there.
no way? Yeah, because I feel like
Wow.
there's no way to block, like to
Yeah, if so
juxtapose
you know what?
this.
Queen c2 gives up queen e1 of queen e8, of course.
There
And
we
then
go.
actually black is checkmated. So
Well, now
that's
they're
how I would have lost this game.
well, so would I, probably way sooner than this. But so now I mean, they both have, 30 seconds. It's almost turning into a bullet game now.
It is. What's very difficult about this position is black would love to be able to play the rook to an open or half open file, but doing so would actually lose on the spot because bishop takes bishop would blow up the bishop and the rook.
And is
So
material
black has.
advantage as important in atomic?
Yeah.
I was gonna say having that
Yeah.
extra, extra.
Yeah. And that's why in a lot of the mainline theory of knight f3 and e4 and things like this, a lot of that theory ends with white cashing out with a piece
Hmm.
with the queen or a bishop or something like that. And they generally, like, the game is not over because so long as there's fuel for the fire, I mean, black can burn white. So,
Yeah.
and all of these players are exquisite at winning with the black pieces. That's what differentiates a normal atomic player and a great atomic player is being able to win with the black pieces in spite of the advantage that white has.
I think we gotta go. The board seems stuck. Maybe. There we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're
That's my bad. So this is another really important piece of the end game, which I was excited that we would get some.
so the
You can't capture this pawn.
yeah, you
Your
lose,
king would
right?
explode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is very difficult. And if we start seeing here the other way that you can draw these sorts of games, oh my, look at that.
Wow.
Wow. And the black king is trying to stop everything.
But he can't
Look at
stop
that.
everything. What happens here?
No, 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 he does. So
Ah,
if white steps away, black
yeah,
queens,
queens, and
and
it's
it's over.
checkmate. Yep.
And if white plays here, black can, well, maybe he just explodes it, right? And
Yeah.
then it's a draw. So what is this actually lost after boom, boom, boom? Ah, you know what? That's very funny. Pushes here, 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 queens, but check, and it's checkmate because the white king
Yeah,
can't move
it's
and he
just
can't
checkmate.
capture.
Yeah.
So this is actually kind of a it's a play on some of what we've seen in regular chess, but instead of having to have a piece guarding the advance of the pawn, which is checkmate, it's just checkmate.
Wow.
Let's
Okay.
see what else we've got
Yeah, I heard.
going.
I know a wonder has started, and I think we've got a lot of games going.
Let's check out that because I am very curious. We do have three results in. Vasquez is up 1-0 on Dwayne Johnson. Joseph, of course, we saw lose. There is a win.
Yeah, there's a win. And for those people that don't know, so it's the first to 4 points, correct?
It's a best of
Best
four,
of four.
so
First
you
to
can
two and
go
a
to
half.
2.5.
Yeah, first to two
Yes.
and a half. So people
Hmm.
are looking for that 2.5 number. So I mean, getting an early win is huge. It's,
It's very huge.
and here was a wonder winning with the black pieces.
I think so. I didn't catch the end, but actually, wouldn't a wonder be white for
Yeah,
the
maybe.
first game? I think so. We can take a look at it in a bit if we have time, but I wanted to see what happened here. Again, we get knight f3 from Emilio. This is another really common idea. Knight h6, looking to play, if allowed, knight g4, threatening f2. With the configuration with the knight on f3, this pawn cannot be moved. So if the knight were able to land on g4, that would simply be GG for
Yeah,
black.
so you have to play what?
Has to stop it.
Yeah, you have
Some
to.
people have played g4 here, but that does give black the option to win a pawn with the trade.
Yeah,
Now you can exactly still do it,
yeah, but
and
that's just
the
a
H
trade.
pawn is generally better
It
because now your
seemed
rook
we saw
is
that in the other game,
active.
right? Yeah, the
Hmm.
open H file is nice.
A lot of these themes are going to be very much repeated. Wow, Castle's Long is quite impressive.
That's crazy. I feel like he has a lot of opportunities there for things to be blown up and lost.
Yeah, I mean, a defensive move right now would be f3 as well. Um,
Another one of
just
those
to
atomic moves. Like I'm
yeah,
starting to see
because
them as atomic moves. Like
right because it's just getting in the way.
yeah, just because it feels like the real strategy is like how can I make sure that I always have that shield, especially for a heavy piece like a queen to block.
Hmm. Also, it's actually a bit difficult for white to sink their queen into the position. Note that if white were to play something sloppy, like queen g5, black would be able to capture and blow the queens up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
There's
it's not so easy. I wonder if he's going to try to slip in this way, but then maybe just d6, just d6, and again now this queen becomes very dangerous. I think that we're going to see Statham win very shortly here. I at the very least he at the very least he can take the queen rook right now. Um,
yeah. That's winning. I mean, he's winning a rook realistically, right?
yeah.
If he wants to, if he wants it, and I mean, but he has the worst bishop of all time, arguably, or is it?
Yes, but a move like b5 can start to free things very quickly. And you just chuck that b pawn up the board, and then you can play on the a6 f1 diagonal.
It's funny because it feels like this black king is safer than the white king because the white king has all these pawns in front of it that are targets, while the black king is kind of alone. But that's a good thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is a good thing. Again, like we're kind of flipping what we know about chess on our head for the atomic variant. I really think Black is going to put this away soon. He must be considering.
It's 30 seconds
I'm
gone,
not.
yeah.
I'm wondering if he's considering if there's some issue in this end game with these pawns if he just takes on d1 because to me it looks like taking on d1 would just be
Yeah, really
yeah,
good. There it
there it
is.
is.
There it is.
It just looks very winning. And he must just, yeah, this is what he was looking at. He was looking at knight. The knight comes in. Oh, wow,
Wow,
he
all the
allows.
pieces are gone.
And now you have to assess the ending.
Yeah.
But I thought that this would be winning with the move c5. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
And the point of c5 is that if this pawn advances, you advance this pawn. You'll stop the d pawn with the king, and these pawns both march, and it will overwhelm this pawn and promote. So I think we're going to see e5 here.
Yeah, it seems it's the 2-on-1 that's created.
This is what I was thinking about back when he was taking forever to play rook d1, but he
Oh,
must
he
be
takes.
calculating. Wow, he takes, so he sees something different. But I don't know how black can win this. I think this might just be a time trouble blunder.
Yeah, I was gonna say he
Um,
had 2 seconds maybe when he made that move. So
but he can find potentially a draw if he can trade three of these pawns for the other three for three pawns. He's actually doing fine because he can get his king next to white's king. And again, we kind of talked about this a little before, but a king and queen versus a lone king is not actually a win so long as the lone king is touching the opponent's king because you cannot separate with check. And if
yeah,
you can ever take the king or checkmate him because it detonates
yeah,
and kills both kings.
and
Draw.
we may see that. I feel like
We very well may. I do think that black may have misplayed this endgame. I did think after queen d1 he should be winning, but
does
it's
Empasant
very
here
hard to
kill?
say with atomic.
Does Empasant here destroy all the pawns?
Ooh.
that are over there?
I actually don't know. I don't know that I've ever seen on Pasan and Atomic in all the games I've played. That's a great question.
Is it a legal move? Okay, so only those two. I guess yeah,
And
because
Black is going to fantastic technique. This is fantastic endgame technique, but there are pawns on the board. So what White wants to maybe try to do is figure out a configuration where Black's king is from the separated from his king. Maybe some situation. It's very tough. It's very tough. I don't think that this is winnable. I'm trying to envision a scenario where White's king gets, somewhere down here and utilizes the pawn to keep the king away, but I just can't. I can't figure it. I think this is going to be a draw,
yeah, it looks like. Oh
which
wow.
will be the first draw of the day, by the way, among these players, but probably not the last. This is a very instructive ending. I think I'm going to look for another game.
Yeah,
We can
see if we
wait for
can
the
find
final
one.
blow, but this should just be a draw. Let's see if we haven't taken a look at Voskas and Dwayne Johnson yet, have we?
No, I don't think so.
Well, let's see if
Dwayne
they
Johnson
are
himself, not The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, let's see what we got here. So
Not
we
The
do
Rock.
have
Sorry about the lag, guys. If the stream lag for a second there, but I think it should be back now. Go for it. Yeah, we have decisive results all over the place, eh? So Dwayne Johnson is one of the non-titled players in this event, right?
correct. He won week 2 of the VCS Arena Series with a score of 37 out of 42. He has 440 games played, so he's extremely experienced, second only to Johan Fan.
Uh huh.
So I think that he is a dark horse for sure. He's also not. Most of these players, I suspect, will stick to Knight f3 for the severity of this, but both him and Johan have experimented with Knight h3 and some of the other secondary moves in the opening, which we can talk about when we have time. But we're mostly going to see Knight f3. It is the most critically testing line, and with $1,000 first prize on the line, I suspect that people are going to be playing the known
Yeah,
best lines.
you're not gonna. You want
You're
to
not
do
going to
the
get
memes,
creative
but
here.
yeah, it's a little dim
Yeah.
right now. Okay, so I naturally got to ask the question here of the pieces are all hanging, but why aren't I understand why the bishop isn't being taken by black? Isn't that not a free
Mhm.
bishop, or is it because the
But
pawns
remember, pawn activity is super important.
they become too
So
powerful?
these pawns suddenly become much stronger with runways down the board, which will create more play. Right now, this bishop is not a
I was gonna
threat.
say the bishop kind of sucks in a funny way, like even though it's
Yeah,
hanging, quote
exactly.
unquote.
Oh, this is tricky. So you cannot go to the corner because knight takes is explodey.
Yep.
So you do have so king f7 is forced. Um, I wonder if white will get his remove the threat of the destruction of his rook.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to.
Why?
Oh, wait a minute. Knight moves, and then bishop d4, and then rook e1 should be very nasty to deal with. I'm thinking something like knight d7. Okay, that's also
I
fine.
was
But
gonna
the
ask
bishop
about this
blocks.
rook. What is
But
that?
then you block with the bishop.
Okay, yeah, yeah, and you're willing
And
to.
again, that's a very common motif as well, is that you shut out rook activity with a piece that's less valuable because it would explode. Atomic, babe.
Yeah, wow, and yeah, okay. So look at this bishop on what a journey.
Yeah, he's threatening bishop h6, which is pawn. I wonder if he could have sacked his knight to play bishop h, so he could get bishop h6, and but probably not good.
Mm.
That's why I feel like he should move his knight at some point to allow. Hmm. He also has this funny move, bishop here. Oh, there
There it
he plays
goes.
it.
Wow, you're a
Yeah.
prophet. Okay, okay.
Well, the point is that of course you can't take because then this is removed and it's going to be game over. The rook is coming in.
Yep, check.
Um, I actually don't know how to defend this because now a rook can come here, and it's again a situation of check and rook. But maybe the king just
Yeah, this
slides
king's got
along
to
and
get
doesn't.
out of
There's
there.
no
Yeah.
mate. Yeah, very difficult. I feel like black is losing the thread here. I like white's activity a lot. Not to mention, like, obviously the d pawn looms. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh
just
wow.
think
Okay,
that,
the rook sacked there.
but rook, yeah, knight blocks. This is very tough. And this is going to be a win for white. Yeah, this is going to be a win for white. Uh, That's a great try. That's a great try because now black gets activity with the rook. But I do think there should be a way to cut off the rooks because he couldn't play because of takes.
Yep,
And
yep.
now that as long as you don't let the rook perpetually check white, so now you might need to block with the knight. Ooh,
And there's nothing to worry about with
nice.
discoveries, right?
Yeah,
There it is.
correct.
Wow.
And there's the game.
GG. Wow.
Very nice. Um,
Quite a bit of
let's take a look at
yeah.
what else is going on out
How's it
there.
all going?
So we're going to jump over to A Wonders game again because I'm very curious about this matchup. I think it's the star matchup of the first round.
Yeah.
Currently, A Wonder does lead 2-0, showing that in spite of all of the skill Johan has in this variation, being a 2650 chess player lets you be pretty good at all the chess variants.
The mind can see quite a bit, I guess. That's crazy. So
Absolutely.
he just needs a draw here. He has the black pieces, so in
Mm-hmm.
theory, Johan has a little bit of a chance. But I mean, what do you think of this position right now? A wonders up a bishop. Is that a good thing?
I think he's going to clinch.
Yeah.
I don't love the position of White's king here. I actually I think he's going to clinch. He's going to open up the ED files at the right moment, and the best White can hope for here, I think, is actually going to be a draw, but that's good enough to clinch the first round.
Exactly.
Um, Not to mention, the clocks are pretty even,
Yeah.
but, you know,
I think
obviously there's a psychological pressure. Johan is going to know that he needs to win this game to keep the match going. And that desire to overpress can be an undoing.
that's a classic. It really is a classic mistake, especially in chess. But that's the same reason I'm thinking when you're playing someone that's a GM like a Wonder, I would be thinking my number one goal in this game is to not be down on the clock. Like I've watched many a GM make a mistake when they have 10 seconds left, but you got to get all the way to 10 seconds, and the caveat there is that you survive. And does he have the ability for that?
He's certainly on the right path. This is a beautiful idea. C4, offering the rook, but this frees the path of this pawn. So I think
Oh, he did.
Johan has found something very beautiful here. He is down a full rook, but these pawns are dangerous. I still think A Wonder is going to utilize that rook to either get a draw or a win. So I don't think that this is going to be enough, but I do think that C4 was an incredibly clever, practical try to enhance the strength of his pawns.
Yeah, and let's see. I mean, the threat is just to keep pushing the pawns all the way up the board. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're coming in, you're checking the king, and where's the king going? Back, and you just keep pushing.
By the way, we do have a result in the Josef Taher and Nikolaus matchup. Nikolaus does advance to the next round with a score of 2.5, 1.5.
There we go.
So,
We
yeah,
can as soon as this
the
game
week
ends, we
five
can
winner.
check out the bracket, which I think is updated to show us. So
Very nice. We should be getting some more results. Um, Currently, Vasilos over Timofey is 2-1. Matfi and Emilio are tied 1-1. And of
Matthew,
course, as we know, what we're following right now, A Wonder versus Johan. And with a winner draw, A Wonder would advance.
wow, these so okay. So what's going on here? Why can't he play check and then he's forking both rooks, threatening checkmate with queening, right?
Sorry, which one?
Right now,
So
there you
check,
go.
yep.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and the
block,
king
yep.
blocks. Okay, yeah. So now the king's in the way.
Um, how do you stop the pawn? So yeah, you have to stop the pawn this way, but now the rook is going to become active, and oh, he's just clamping down on the position first. That's a very classy move. En passant, we can see what happens.
Yeah, en passant. Well, no, en passant would
Just
explode only the ace
explode the
pawn
pawns.
and the black
Just the
piece.
pawns involved.
Yeah,
Just the
just
pawns
the pawns
involved.
involved. Which
But
maybe
this is very dangerous because allowing en passant means that the rook can come to d4, and maybe, well, I guess he's still wiggling in either way.
why not
Oh,
push?
he doesn't
Why
play
not
it.
push that c pawn if you're white, just to
So
eventually?
right now, I'm wondering if a wonder is trying to find a win, but a draw is good enough. And I think that rook d4 forces a draw because you're essentially going to bring the rook down and start checking the king forever, right?
Yeah.
And the king can never leave because if he ever touches a capturable piece, you win. And if you get a repetition, you win the match. So I think that I don't love, and he's finally activating this
Yeah,
rook.
but that
Now
pawn's
he's going to get the
going.
draw. Now but now this is a threat. Nope, he explodes. We talked about this. Boom.
Wow, bang, and he wins.
Yes,
Wow,
he
okay.
does, and he
Wow.
survives.
He
We
survives.
talked about this. I
Exactly, yeah.
wonder.
He was in check, but he explode. But you can explode out of check. Wow.
See, this is the issue. You have such rules of chess ingrained in you. This is an easy thing to miss. Um, Actually, in this position,
You take the
it's
queen.
just lost because if you take the queen, her moats.
Oh, with checkmate. Wow. It's just
Yeah,
completely lost. I told you.
it's
Hey, didn't I
and
say the C pawn was going to run down the board and he was going to
but
win?
that's why in this moment, instead of a5, if you play rook d4, now you're in time
Yep,
with
you
the
have
draw.
time. Yep.
Yeah. So
Wow.
because he kind of was playing these prophylaxis moves for in a classical sense, they don't work in atomic. Just go for the throw. Just
Wow.
go for the
Okay, so
throw.
that makes it 2-1. Let's quickly go over and look at the bracket,
Hmm.
just to have a look here. So a Wonder and Johan are playing another game, which is awesome.
Hmm.
There's
I've
our
got that game up when we're back.
Yeah, and there's our one decisive result for Nicolaus, our first semi-finalist, and then the
Hmm.
other guys are still battling it out. So yeah, go for it. Let's.
Yeah.
Are we
And
checking
Matt
out?
Fay is up 2-1 now over Emilio.
Yep, we've got it.
And Vasilios is also in his final game with Timofey potentially, unless we get
Yeah,
overtime.
we could get overtime in some of those. So yeah,
We
what do we
could.
have here? We're back to the
We
board.
actually have our first non knight f3 opening, which is great. Knight h3, generally h6 is the best move. And in this variation, d4 is a bit unusual. Many people play e3 here. And the point of having the knight on. So obviously you need to stop the knight from getting to g5. But in this opening, white would like to utilize this diagonal without having it blocked by a knight on f3. That's generally how this is played. d4 is a little rare, but of course it's fine.
Wow.
This is again a very common defensive resource. We talked about it with the queen, but this is also true for the knight. It boxes the knight out.
Yeah, instead of
Um,
C3, you're playing B4.
I think black should be happy with that trade, although white is still better.
No en passant. Tragic.
Okay, this is nice. This is very nice. I think Johan has exactly the type of position he wants with the black pieces. A Wonder probably continues to hold a small edge, but he's going to be able to castle and use this rook and the f pawn as a battering ram to knock down the white defenses.
Wow, yeah. I mean, this is. I mean, Johan was literally on the brink, and if he can
Mhm.
pull
That would
to,
be a stunning comeback. Like I said, I think that this is. I don't think it's a stretch to say that these are two of maybe the two best players in this whole event in the first round.
it's a bit of a tragedy that
Although I'm
this.
sure some of the titled players might have something to say
Yeah,
about
right. They're
that.
like, hey, hey,
Given
hey.
Johan, hey, no, you're just saying Johan is extremely tricky. I've looked at a lot of his games. He scores extremely well, not just in knight f3, but he's very creative. He'll play the suboptimal, the secondary lines. Your e3s, your e4s, and he defends those weird positions really well. So he's just a complete player. So you can't really just focus on the title in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's one of the reasons. One of the things that actually intrigues me about the variants about the community series in general is just those people, those unsung heroes. Because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be able. It's really difficult to get a title. I mean, that's super
It's
difficult to do.
incredibly hard,
And
and GM even more so.
yeah, exactly. And so to be untitled and be able to compete against these GMs and really feel like you're at a top
Mm-hmm.
level of something is pretty cool. So
It's extremely
I
special.
can't say I have like I said, my coolest achievement is a Wonder being my highest rated friend on chess.com. But I hate to tell him, I might be rooting against him right now. I'd love to see a crazy
Ooh,
comeback.
you want to see overtime. And we do have overtime in our Vasilos and Timofey matchup as well. That was tied up 2-2. Emilio was not able to tie Matt Fay, who does take their matchup 3-1.
There it is.
But I do want to catch the end of this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So forgive me for staying here.
No, I'm
But
I'm I'm keen on a crazy comeback possibility here. Looks like a Wonder refuses to develop his pieces.
if there's not good squares to put them on, sometimes it's better to grab space and push those pawns. Um, it's also not so clear because if you put your piece on the wrong square, it can become really vulnerable to being exploded by lesser valuable pieces. So right now he's trying to massage the position a bit. He's maybe trying to get his knight. Yeah, see, he's going to get his knight to d6. Wow, that was a beautiful move to defend the knight to d6 because bishop takes rook would have won the game.
Yep,
A
checkmate on that.
very nice defensive resource, but how do you stop this now?
So, but what's okay? What's so scary about this
The
check
problem is,
and
and then if you come to e7, Um, you're starting to look at maybe the bishop becomes a player. You take the knight and you play bishop here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's some lines where the queen infiltrates. I am very worried for black after the knight comes to d6, but maybe just queen takes knight.
Yeah.
And honestly, maybe queen takes knight is like not a bad move because you still have pieces to throw at white's king. And the value of the queen might not be so much with the pawn structure as it is. We can't really think, wow, that's a lovely move.
So the other check. Yeah, I was just about to ask.
Yeah, so he cannot come to the seventh because knight takes pawn would end the game. He must go to f8.
And then, like we
And
said,
now he
now we
does what we
eliminate
talked
that.
about.
Yeah, eliminating the knight, opening the
This
diagonal.
this is maybe even better. This is better. It's not maybe better. It is simply better than what I talked about because the bishop is not impeded by the knight. See, I fell to trying to get a knight to a protected
I
square
was gonna
because of
say it's like
classical
regular
chess.
chess in your head. I was thinking the
Yeah,
same
but
thing.
but this is much better than that.
And now,
Also,
yeah, no, go ahead.
queens, you can't put. You want to play the queen here, but then queen takes knight, kills the knight and the queen.
Mm-hmm.
Another incredible defensive resource. How do you get this queen into the position? And right now, it's not so clear, and black is starting to get activity. There exists a very interesting move here for I think that bishop to f8 is really interesting because it puts a box around the king. The king would no longer be able to come to h7 in some checking lines because bishop takes pawn would end that. And also you take away a key square for maybe creating counter chances. This is lovely. This is going to be
Wow.
a wonder pulling this in, or that's also good. A wonder is going to take this. It's over. Checkmate. Yeah,
Checkmate. Wow, wow. That's.
really beautiful.
I mean, he couldn't allow the crazy comeback. Not after everything.
No, I mean, but you know what? Shout out to Johan who took a game off of him. He showed he belonged.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
3-1 score. It came down to that with the black pieces, the 2650 player was able to make something happen. So let's see if we can catch that overtime
yeah.
game.
Is there one in overtime or have they?
I
Yeah.
believe right here we have Voskas and Dwayne Johnson at a. So this is actually the second game of overtime. Vasilios has a 3-2 lead right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So he needs a win realistically.
he Vasquez just needs a draw with
Just
the
needs a
black
draw.
pieces.
Yeah. Just needs a draw.
White needs to win. Yeah,
And
White needs a win.
what am I seeing here? Some bishops. Some queens
Wow.
hanging.
Whoops. Hotkeys.
No, you're good.
Let's take a look. Knight f3, f6. Yep, and e3. Now this move is like very like in vogue with computers. I've always been very lazy and just played knight c3 myself, but I'm not. I'm also like very dated on my theory, so I'm sure that this, maybe the idea is to come to b5 and
Very dated
explode.
on my theory about atomic chess. I mean, you're like a
Yeah.
professor that's like, you're the old professor. It's like, I don't know as well
Well,
as I used to, but still you're the best in the business.
you too, sweet man. It's very fun, and I do have a lot of love for this variant. There are so many ways to enjoy chess, and variants are a great way. Sometimes, you've done too many study sessions, you've lost 20 straight games at Bullet if you're like me, and you just want to change it up.
I
You
was
just
gonna
want to
say,
change it up, but you want to play chess.
you want to play chess, but you want to clear your head. You want to play something where you don't
Exactly.
feel like you
Where
just want
pieces go
chaos.
boom.
Yeah,
You want
yeah.
pieces to go boom. So
And
this is lovely. This is a clinic by White. I really like this position. Similar to the last
I was
game,
gonna
this
say that
idea of
box
putting
with
the
the bishop.
bishop. Mhm.
Hmm.
This is another motif that is very critical in Atomic. Um, you're restricting squares; the king can't run away, and it just the pressure mounts. But Black, of course, is doing fine. At any given time, he can reclaim the queen. I think.
Hmm.
Um, he's got his active bishops. Yes, his queen is gone, but I don't hate this position for Black. It's not super easy to evaluate.
Yeah, I mean, so what we're looking at here is White needs this win. So White needs to
White
create
needs to win.
something serious, which is why they're in the tank.
Oh no, that's crazy talk though.
So what Bishop takes,
If I'm Black, I'm very happy to see that. Remember, Black just needs a draw here, so he can start liquidating and try to activate a rook and just check where it's a win or a draw, or a draw by repetition, or you explode and win. White does get his queen out, but maybe e5. Or even knight e5 is kind of dangerous.
Yeah, just coming in. I mean,
Yeah, just start coming in.
black's got
Knight e5.
two undeveloped pieces for black. But like you said
There's
earlier,
also this move. There's also this move bishop. Maybe there's this move bishop f3,
yeah,
threatening the g pawn.
yeah, because pawn takes, you lose the queen. So, and then if you take the
Yes, so
pawn,
you
you
have to
win the
go
game.
g3,
Yeah,
and you go g3, and now you go knight. Now you go knight e5, and after knight e5, you actually have like kind of similar motif that you might see attacking a fiend shadowed king without a bishop guarding it, where the bishop might go to h1, and then the knight goes to f3, and you have a regular
checkmate,
checkmate.
just regular knight
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah,
bishop
yeah. Well,
checkmate too.
yeah.
Like
It'd be very picturesque.
that
I'm
would be
not sure
so
that
funny.
that's the best move, but certainly I'm thinking about bishop f3 if I'm black
I
here.
mean, it might not be the best move, but at this point, I'm
It
like,
is
I need to see
artistic.
it on the board,
I would love to
please.
see it. Okay, he
Okay,
has a similar
similar idea.
idea.
A similar.
Similar idea now, bishop f1. Okay, knight e5 first. But the point is that we're going to construct we're going to start making holes in white's camp. We're going to have kind of a Swiss cheese after something like bishop f1, g3, knight f3, king here, and bishop g2 is checkmate. So he has to sacrifice the queen. Of course, he's not born yesterday. He sees this mating idea and just gets the knight out of there. Um,
Oh man,
Before we get that very lovely sequence, unfortunately.
yeah, and that queen was gonna always be taken off the board in some way or another. And he
Yeah,
took
I
the
mean,
knight with him. That was a valuable piece.
and piece value is very different in atomic. Queens aren't so simply like 9 points versus a knight that's 3 points. Knights are incredibly valuable in this variation, where they can avoid blockers by jumping around as they do.
They're, I mean, look, they're insanely tricky in regular chess.
Hmm.
They're, I'm not surprised that they're insanely tricky in atomic chess. I mean,
Even more so, maybe.
it feels like those minor pieces. It feels like the queen is in a funny way like too powerful. It sees
Yeah,
too many squares. It's too easy to get after as opposed to like the
there are many
restrictiveness.
main lines in the knight of three theory where the queen actually sacrifices herself, sometimes for a pawn, to create lines of attack. So, yeah, throw what you know about the queen's value right out the window. Right out the window. I love this position for black. White had chances, but I do think that Vasquez, if he can just keep his cool with 10 seconds on the clock, less than 10, I think he should wrap this up. But in time trouble, you got to be watching that tick down.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very easy to miss a detail.
Nine
Very, very
seconds. I
easy.
mean, if I'm white here, I'm playing on the clock. I'm locking in and playing on the clock as much as I can. I mean, that's the problem with atomic chess. I'm honestly learning is that the tricks are abundant. So like
The tricks are very
you
abundant.
start playing
You're
on
never out. Never resign in atomic. Never ever resign in atomic. Even more so than classical. Vasquez has disconnected and reconnected. So I'm kind of worried about his internet connection right now as well. You want to put the knight on f5, but bishop takes. I was okay, but now don't you? But
take.
now
Okay.
no, because you don't want to open up. You don't want to open up these files because yeah, he wants g4 so that there's never g4 for black. In positions where the rook becomes active. Yeah, I always thought the knight was taken on f5. I thought the knight maybe wanted to go to g3 instead, but it's hard to say.
And
These things are hard to say.
you can really see with the knight getting captured there the strength of pawns in atomic chess. Like no, there's this explosion, but the structure kind of stays the same. We still maintain
Yes.
the same thing.
And this is black is getting to the f file much faster because that bishop is controlling the f1 square. But you know what? I'm going to eat what I said because bishop f1, bishop takes rook, and then rook over to f1. So I'll eat my words again. I'm too in the chess classical mindset, and the bishop does the same thing.
Same exact.
This is suddenly very tough for black. Those rooks are dead,
Yeah. What are
and
they
after
doing?
rook f1 for white or g5, yeah, g5 is actually kind of gross because you kind of need to put your king. Yeah, you have to get your for black. You have to get your queen's rook active, but for white, you have this simple plan of throw that g pawn up the board and now get your rook over there and win the game.
You're opening another file here. I mean, yeah. Where's the rook go?
Oh,
Rook
those pawns are gnarly.
G1.
You have to stop. Oh no 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 white's oh no no. I think we're gonna see this time trouble maybe get to black here.
Four
Those pawns
seconds.
are extremely dangerous.
Super dangerous.
Um,
You don't want to push here because then you just take with the rook.
and you cannot draw. You cannot draw with white. You
Yeah.
have to find a
He
win.
has to find the win. He absolutely has to find the win.
But that rook, I don't know that you can stop the rook from toggling between these open files
And that
and then just
pawn.
checking the white king endlessly.
Yeah, and the king cannot jump up to G3, right? The square
Yeah,
is
and
controlled.
black should be careful not to overpress, like we saw in the Wonder game, where
Hmm.
he allowed Johan to come back when he had a draw
There goes the
that he
bishop.
just
This is
needed.
this might be it, huh?
This is it. Like at the very least, this is a draw or a win. If the king ever steps next to one of his own pieces, like he's under threat of exploding, black just needs to check along forever.
And
It's
that's
fine. It's fine. This is a draw.
there's
Like, no, he shouldn't move his king. He should check. He should have checked, and yeah, it's fine.
yeah, here you can't
I mean, it's
play.
fine. A draw is fine.
Why not pawn
But
takes here? Is that
what
not
blows up the
it
kings?
blows up both kings? That's why you can't do
Yeah.
it. I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
So
here, but that was kind of interesting, right? Because it's an interesting try. If white could push that pawn, it would be good enough.
hmm
This is such a funny position. But yeah,
it because the kings can go next to each other, you can kind of get out of the way of your own
rook
pawn.
rook check would meet queens with takes and wins. But this is a lot sketchier than it needed to be, I think.
This is quite. I mean, this is quite the. Yeah, this is quite the.
It didn't. Black might be the one keeping his king close for the draw now, and yeah, black will simply
Wow. I
yeah
want to pin my own queen.
with
Help
two
me, please.
for two queens. With two queens is a win. You can separate the king from your king with two queens because you can control two files, and he won't be able to walk into check. I think
Uh-huh.
maybe
But
I'm
that's
not
why. Is
sure,
that why he gets rid of the rook?
but this is still tough. I don't know that you can separate the black king from the white king,
This is such a.
and if you
This is such a crazy
he just
atomic position.
follows.
Yeah, he's just chasing around.
Oh, but you know
Oh,
what? Right here is a blunder because he takes and the king is not in the blast zone.
wow. The king is just
Mm-hmm.
outside. And I was telling you this
Clever.
earlier how I felt like the 3x3 square of the blast zone is kind of
Yeah.
huge on a chessboard.
But just enough here with the pawns on the board. If there were no pawns on the board, this would be a draw.
So he gets the
But be,
decisive result, and we continue
yeah,
in overtime. Wow.
yeah. Very exciting. Very
Wow.
exciting.
3-3. These guys are, this is really, they're putting on a show now.
Now, I believe after the first set of 3+2 games, we moved to a 1+2
Yep.
time control. I'm waiting for that game to come up.
Yeah, we'll have to.
But
Wow.
just to recap, we do have three players who have advanced to the next round. A Wonder Liang defeated Johan Fan 3-1 to advance. Matt Rogov defeated Emilio 3-1 as well. Popular streamer Emilio. He's love watching him in Arena Kings.
Yep. Yep.
Nikolaus defeated Josef Taher 2.5 as well. So we do have those three results.
Yep. I've
We're
just
just
pulled up the
waiting on
bracket as
this.
well so people can see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me know when you find that game. They've got to organize it for the even faster
Yeah.
for the 1 minute. I feel like we were talking about, there are so many tricks already, and now the tricks are going to continue in the 1 minute where you have even less time to think. I mean, I know
All
you've
right,
told
and
me
off we go.
that you've played. The game started. All right, let's get over there.
Oh
See
yeah.
what we got going on.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And we have this in vogue idea of sending that knight to attack the c7 square. But this is not easy. Black gets ooh. Black gets a lot here. Those knights are menacing.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
knights are menacing. I wonder if you have to play queen takes knight
I was
here
gonna say
because if the king moves, can you go to f1? That wow, he's a brave man.
the,
I would have had to think about that. I would have had to think
it's
about
one
that.
minute, man. How much thinking are they doing here? Like, oh
That's true.
man,
You do have a small safety net. There is that increment,
there is
but
increment.
it's not a
It's
lot.
2 seconds, right?
Yeah, which is more than enough to
I
have
was
a
gonna
medium
say it's
thing.
kind of a long time actually. A
It
couple
is a
pre
long time
moves
for
and
these
a
players.
couple pre
Yeah.
moves, and you're gaining 10 seconds. That's quite a bit of time.
But this is an extremely exciting position. I think that if you're Voss, you have to be very happy about how the opening went. The fact that he can play King F1 and not have to blow up his own pieces after the knight hits C2, you've got to like his chances here. You've
Yeah.
got to like his chances.
I mean,
Those knights are menacing, but
so right now black is down what, a queen and a minor piece.
it, yeah, but material. What is it in
Material.
atomic? Everything goes boom. They all go boom equally. So
And it almost feels like black is gonna put white in a position where that queen has to be given up in a way that it's just because it almost feels like we were talking about earlier, where the queen is so powerful that it can go to
oh,
all these
lovely.
squares. It also is like one of the key defenders when there's a really dangerous threat posed.
It is because she's so mobile that she can give herself up in the right dynamic. Similar to that knight bishop mating net that we saw
Yeah.
with forcing trying to fight bishop f1 or bishop f3 and force g3 with the knight mating. In that same configuration, the queen ended up giving herself up for the knight, which was the absolutely correct move.
Yeah. And then that was some nice maneuvering there to get rid of.
Ah,
Oh, but here comes a
this
check.
yeah, this is
Check. And then where's the king going? Because,
you have to give the queen. You
right,
have
because
to
the knight would have
yeah.
taken with checkmate there.
This is suddenly not easy, but white should be better.
Wow, this
White
is
should be better after g4, but these pawns are very dangerous.
this is incredible how
Oh no, I think
he
he's
let
actually bungled this.
keep
He
running.
shouldn't be running to these pawns. I thought he needed to play g4 maybe, but perhaps after f5 the pawn becomes too dangerous. So maybe g4 would be a mistake.
What about a move like c4 here?
You kind of
Oh no, you can't. 'Cause
don't
then,
want pawn takes pawn, and then rook is checking.
yeah, rook is.
And then the rook comes in, and then the rook comes to c2 and is detonating a pawn
It
next to
feels
the
like
king.
this is nearly a draw unless, like what? Because like the rook will always go to the open file that can threaten checkmate, and the king
I
can't move
think
to the corner either, right?
black very well might just have a draw, and this is the kind of endgames that you have to know as a black player.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a lot of wins from white pressing because there's always that funny psychological pressure of knowing that white is better in this variant and feeling like you need to capitalize on your white pieces, even more so than in classical.
Mm-hmm.
But white mate, just detonates.
Oh
He
my
just
gosh! I
blundered
can't.
mate in one. Yeah, he just blundered mate in one here.
Wow, I was literally gonna say there's no way. Like
Yeah,
he saved that the mate on that square like 5 times and then
yeah,
lost it.
he did. But to
Wow.
quote Nelly, here comes the boom. Yeah, you're
Hey,
welcome. You're welcome.
I've seen. You know, I actually have seen Nelly live in.
How was it? Was it
Well,
sick?
to be fair, I actually didn't go to the concert. I was at a beer garden across a small like lake,
Hmm.
and he was performing on the other side, so we still could hear the tunes. But
That sounds scenic. I like that.
wasn't a bad time. It
Did he
was
play Here Comes the Boom?
he. I'm sure he did. You know, I was definitely fully tuned in. And
Yeah, at the beer garden.
shout out to all our Michiganders. It was actually in Traverse City where this happened.
Oh, yo, if you've never been to TC, best cherries in the US. Cherry flavored everything.
There's nothing. Yeah, you cannot. Yeah,
And wine.
no lies detected is all I'm saying. All facts.
Yeah, shout out everyone in Michigan or
Yeah.
who likes Michigan.
Wow.
Uh, if you're from Ohio, that's fine. We still like you.
Okay, so they're kicking it again, right? One more to
Yeah, and
decide.
again, we see this critical move b5, which removes this square. White would have to sack a piece to get access to it. Also, this is a really clever defensive resource that you see in a lot of openings. Bishop e6. The queen, in many variations, would like to get from h5, forcing g6 to d5. If she can get to d5, she would be pressuring d7 and f7 in many openings,
Hmm.
which is just game over. So playing d5 stops the queen from going to d5 because it would blow up. But she then gets to here to e5, and where you go bishop e6, defending by blockading.
Hmm.
Very beautiful. And he does sack a piece to open up the
Open
b4
up the
square.
lines, yeah. Because
Yep. I don't know how
yeah,
black
queen
is
takes.
going to survive this. He's
What's
doing a good job.
what's crazy to me is that this kind of sort of similar thing happened last game where just like there's all these pieces trading and all these crazy queens are
Yeah.
getting destroyed and everything, and then it always ends up at 2 rooks and some pawns.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
How do
we
you
get a
guys keep
crazy
doing it?
ending.
Yeah, like how do you guys keep getting to this?
Look at these guys having to blockade these pawns. I like White's position a lot here because I think that you can just, start shoving these pawns, and at some point, these three pieces are going to have to blockade three pawns, and then you try to figure out ways to get, and that's what plan he's going to go for.
Yep.
And those rooks are going to get active, and I think White is going to bring home the point here.
No way. Are you kidding me? Wait, so does this mean that we're gonna go to another game?
Hey, look, you know what's better than double overtime? Triple
I
overtime.
mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Every time I'm watching any sport, I'm like, you know what would be cool? Some overtime.
Some overtime.
Shout out
Well,
to
you
my-
get it's free sports.
I mean, exactly. I mean, shout out to my soccer, to my footy fans.
Hey.
There was a game yesterday, Real Madrid that Manchester City, that went to penalty kicks, extra time penalty kicks. I definitely was hard at work instead of watching that one.
Let's go. Let's go. And hey, everyone has multiple monitors these days,
Exactly.
So you can be hard at work with some
Yeah,
games
yeah.
going on.
And then it gets to the OT. But anyway, so what we got here? What do we got going on here? This
White has activity, black's blockaded, the pawn's coming, white's gonna win.
Yeah, this pawn, the a pawn, right, is gone. Is gone.
Yeah,
Like, how do you stop it?
this position is just toast for black. White executed the plan we talked about. He just locked up the position, tied up those pieces. Those pawns are either going to promote or he's going to get that rook in there.
Mm.
And at any point that the king steps towards either the pawns on G and H or the rook on F7, that's when you start to explode things. And he's just going to offload the rook in the hope that he can get his king out. This is just curtains.
Yep.
This is a last ditch attempt that black would get impatient and miss. Knight G2 is made. The last trick in the position.
Wow.
And there you go.
We got the full on flag. The full on
So that
flag.
was that actually Dwayne Johnson winning
Was it?
5-3, I think.
Yeah, that was Dwayne Johnson
Yeah.
through. Let's pull up the bracket real
Yeah,
fast so everyone can
absolutely.
see what we've got cooking for the semifinals.
And we have some very nice matchups here. A Wonder Liang, um, probably still the favorite to win the event, taking on Matt Rogov, who convincingly defeated National Master Emilio 3-1. You know, we've got Nicolaus, who we didn't get to catch too much of his games, but he quickly beat
Yeah, I
Joseph
was
two
gonna
and a
say
half
he was
half.
fast. So how many title
Yeah.
players do we have left now?
Oh, geez.
Is it
One, two.
two?
Is Timothy is
Well,
a
I think
I
he
want to
is
say
title. No,
no, he's not. Timothy is not titled.
Yeah, Timofey's not
Uh,
title. Dwayne The Rock Johnson himself is not.
Matt Fay is a CM.
Yep. So we've
So
got three,
yeah, yeah.
three title
Dwayne
players.
Johnson is untitled, and Nico, who advanced, is also not
I
titled.
mean,
So two titled and two untitled.
if world famous wrestling star and actor Dwayne Johnson can pull out this win, that would be quite something.
Absolutely.
Are the games have the games started there on this?
So we are on a quick 3 minute breaks for the players to who just came off of extra overtimes.
Yeah, they need a
Run
breath,
to
I
the
guess.
bathroom, get a drink of water. While that's happening, I wanted to show you why some openings are simply not playable. Um,
Yeah,
Even though knight f3 is the main move in atomic theory, I thought it would be fun to show you that if black were to meet e4 with c5, one of the
classic.
most played moves, the
Yeah,
Sicilian, this loses on the spot because after queen h5, g6, only move to prevent detonation, the queen reaches this critical d5 square,
there's no way
and
to
no matter
stop
what
it.
black plays, boom.
Yeah,
Now you say, well, what about the Caro Con, another c pawn opening, which does defend d5? Well, it's going to be queen here, here, and now e5. And after e6, we have the very beautiful move, queen c7.
wow.
And because the queen is threatening to take two pieces next to the king, the only move for black to play is queen takes queen, which of course is an overwhelming loss of material. With no play on the board for black and down a knight and a bishop,
It's
this is
bad.
a very easy win for white. It's extremely easy.
Wow.
Um, so the whole c pawn complex against e4 is simply lost. Now we don't have any mainline e4 players in this tournament, but they do exist in the atomic community. E4 is when I face e4 with the black pieces, I've always recommended the Scandinavian, and this is extremely funny because you need to pre-move, and you must pre-move this. If you play atomic out there, guys, pre-move queen takes d2 because classical chess people they're gonna take the pawn and then
Explode.
boom.
Game. That's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
The Scandi is actually a bit quite the dangerous opening.
The Scandi is maybe, in my opinion, the most dangerous way to play against 1e4 players in this variant. I actually, another dubious classical opening, the Alkine, the Hecken, is also very dangerous because if you play the classical move, grabbing space, now the knight jumps in and is hitting
That
two
same theme,
pawns,
yeah, it's that
and
same
that
theme.
theme occurs, and white explodes.
And I've kind of been
Now, games
seeing.
are about to start, by the way, so we're going to
Sweet.
switch over.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing that those pawns on
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the pawns, just the pawns to the right and left of the king. Yeah, like they're just always under attack. I mean, they're honestly always being pushed by white or black or whoever to free up
Mm-hmm.
those squares because they're too dangerous. You want to get your pieces away from your king as fast as possible almost.
You really do. The safest king is a lone wolf, as
Yeah,
it turns out.
yeah.
Um, so let's pull up I want to stick with the guy we were just following through multiple overtimes. Let's take a look here at Dwayne Johnson
Yeah, Dwayne
taking
Johnson.
on. And look at this. We have our a non F3. These generally transpose.
Uh-huh.
E3 and knight F3 generally transpose, which we do immediately. Queen F6 is sidestepping the mainline theory, which is a very key move. I'm not going to go into all of it because it would be pretty silly, but it's a very long forcing sequence that white is slightly better in the ending. No black player wants to go into it, so we see Queen F6.
And here,
Um,
and here we got, and Dwayne's, and the funny thing about this matchup too is Dwayne played all these extra games in Armageddon, or in this Armageddon, I
mhm.
should say, in overtime. But on the other side, Niklaus played, like we said, he was really quick. So what would you rather have here?
So
You're,
this is tough. This move, King D1, actually prepares 95, where black has to give up his queen
yeah, no,
because of the threat on these two pawns, which we just
save
talked
two
about.
pawns. I mean, that
Yeah, it does
it's
those
really a
big
king.
pawns.
Yeah,
So King D1 at a glance, you're like, what the heck is that move? But it's actually preparing the threat of 95.
and why
And
and why
black
if
is
and
stunned.
95 doesn't work otherwise because the queen would take would
Will
check
go
out.
to on F2. Yeah.
Exactly.
So he just gets rid of the
Yeah,
knight.
he's
He
like,
just
I'm
gets
not
rid
even
of the
gonna play
knight.
the games. Yeah, no games.
Yeah, I actually don't know that that was good. I might have. I wonder what the problem is with taking the queen first, allowing 95, and then taking with the queen. Because in this variation, white has the move, and
Yeah, can save the queen. I
he
totally
can
agree with
save
you.
the queen. I don't know where these
Why
white
not just
lines are coming
grab? Yeah,
from.
why not just grab the queen
Yeah,
first? He takes the
yeah,
pawn, he
yeah.
takes the rook and knight too
Uh,
with him. So
maybe the knight wants to give itself up for the rook. So yeah, he defends with h3 so that the knight can't get the rook.
yeah,
Logical. But I'm wondering where this knight is going. White's going to get some. Okay, he gives itself up for the bishop
hmm
instead. I like this position a lot for white. Um,
it feels yeah.
yeah.
He has the numbers majority right on that.
Honestly, the move. I think the move might not be the best move, but a4 looks really straightforward to me.
I mean,
Because if takes, then the rook becomes active, and if push, you just keep pushing this pawn, forcing the bishop to blockade. At which point you play c4, and you'll get the rook active later on another way, but you've tied up this bishop.
yeah, and there
There
it
we go.
goes. Well, I was also gonna say it feels like the only move almost in the position because the bishop literally can't
Mm-hmm.
move. The knight has one square but wide blockade.
Oh, that's lovely. What a cute idea.
So what's the idea here? He takes.
Yeah, if takes, then you're increasing the power of these pawns because you'll be able to bring a duo
Yeah,
together,
your numbers
and they're going to
advantage
advance
becomes
together. Wow, he does take. I don't know about that.
yeah.
I don't know about
After
that. And
what
there
I've
he goes
watched
with the
today,
d4
yeah.
pawn. Yeah,
After what I've watched
it's
today,
absolutely critical. Like, yeah, I don't think that black is going to get anything going this game. Um, but that's why we play the game. It
yeah,
just because I don't see an idea doesn't mean black doesn't see an idea.
and it
You
doesn't
know,
mean the clock's not going to run down. And I mean, we've seen a couple, we've seen
very
like some maiden ones. I mean, we've seen maiden ones blunder from our top
absolutely
players.
with 10 seconds or less, anything can happen.
I
You
mean,
know,
yeah,
suddenly you're in Vegas instead of the chessboard, and anything can happen.
yeah. Well, some of us are always in Vegas on the chessboard.
hey, hey, us Michigan people like to get out of the cold every now and then.
Every now and then, yeah.
Yeah, but we embrace it. We embrace it.
Um, yeah. Well, welcome to Florida. You would argue sometimes.
Oh well, I don't know. I'm not about the swamp.
There's nothing like a Michigander in Florida, though. That's for sure.
That's true.
I've
Yeah. But then, are you a Florida man the moment you enter Florida?
see. I actually, I've been to Florida a couple times. My cousins used to live there, and
Mm-hmm.
I turned into a Florida man a couple times, and I realized, I
Mm-hmm.
got to stay away from it.
You got you. You
I don't want to go back.
don't want to end up in the news.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
want
there's
to end
no
up in the
need.
news.
Florida man plays real life atomic giant chess.
Actual explosions rock the city.
Yeah. Question. Beach. The beach has explosions on it.
Black is trying to pry open lines for his bishop with his pawns. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. White can either lock the position up or just happily continue to push those AB pawns.
Yeah.
I'm not really seeing it. Honestly, I would just ignore what Black is doing and
Yeah.
I would just go.
Yeah,
I
why
would
not?
just go.
I mean, it's so cool to see. Like we were talking about, the isolated king is the safest king. Because when I'm looking at these kings, I actually think the white king looks way safer because there's
Oh,
so
he
many
is
targets around the black king. All the pawns, the
exactly.
bishop, they're all targets. Here, all you
Oh,
have is
he's
the
just going to
bishop.
trade down, but okay. But now Bishop here. I mean, or Bishop here.
Yep. I
I think
like
Bishop G5 is really good too.
I like bishop g5.
Yeah, it's just and there it is,
hmm
Bishop G5. These are the instantly you're thinking of these two moves, and I think, um, yeah, this is not a threat because you can never take because you lose
You
your
lose your own
bishop.
bishop. So
So
you,
this is just out of play.
but white could trade the bishops if if he
I mean,
wanted
White
to.
could just play this pawn. Yeah, he
Yeah,
just
just
advances the
run.
pawn. And I would honestly consider like just moving the B pawn. I'm not sure you need to commit to pushing yet.
Hmm.
Like maybe just B4 is just better. I guess one thing you have to consider is this move F4, F5, F4, and you are needing to allow check, and the bishop does control F2, so the king would not be able to blockade there.
Yeah,
So
so
he does go for this B4 move. Wow, he gives up
I'm
his
so
F
surprised.
pawn.
I'm so surprised at that. I feel like what we've learned from
Yeah,
our first round games was having those pass pawns and the pressure they create. Not even necessarily that they're going to come. It's
yeah.
just so useful, and to give one away like that.
Maybe he just calculated that the king goes to F1 and there's nothing, but I thought that maybe if the king goes to F1, there's this tricky move, bishop G2 in some lines.
Yep.
And I thought in those positions that passed pawn could actually maybe result in a funny checkmate
Yeah. Oh man, I
or
feel
the
like that
black
was
pieces.
a real missed
That was a real
opportunity.
opportunity
Yeah.
missed. I do believe that black should have tried to advance that F pawn.
Because
I'm not really sure what he's playing for here.
that's what I was
You know,
gonna
even
say.
a move
What's
like
his
rook here.
idea left now? Like.
Okay, that's also fine. Activating the rook either way,
Yep.
but yeah, I don't see it. I don't see how. And these bishops are dangerous,
Hmm.
but you can't step up. By the way, you can't step up because it would explode.
Hmm.
So maybe now he comes here and
Another
you go
check.
here. You have to force, but queen is coming.
Now you have to
Oh,
go.
you go check. You have to go check again,
Wow. These
and
bishops
then
are
check
really coming
again.
after
Wait a
him.
minute. Check again. Check. Does black win?
Yeah, I swear he might have him trapped here, and there's no way to
Okay,
escape.
so incredible, an
Eventually,
incredible idea by black.
right? Eventually, the bishop will take on c3 and win the game, right? You kind of
Yeah,
forcing the king there.
or on b5
Yeah.
if the king runs up eventually. That's an incredible
Wow.
idea with these bishop activity.
So we were
And
talking
yeah,
smack about
I
Dwayne
thought I
and
thought he
his
was dead and
decision.
buried. Yeah, I thought he was dead and buried, but hey, you know what? There's a reason why he's playing in the event and I'm
I mean,
commentating, you know?
he didn't like the queen. Interesting.
I thought that maybe bishop. Yeah, I wonder what the sequence is. I thought after bishop check, maybe well, the bishops would keep checking no matter what. I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
I thought it looked good to me.
I I'm surprised by his play, but I'm not the expert. If you're surprised by his play, then I'm more
I mean,
inclined
it's
to give
also
him
under
credit.
10 seconds, so if the
True.
guys are missing things under pressure, like that's not incredibly surprising. $1,000 first place is on the line,
Hmm.
so it is some pressure added.
Yeah.
Oh
In
yeah,
fact,
he's just boxing the king.
those guys that were out in the quarterfinals all made a cool $250. So shout out to them. Not
Yeah,
a
good
bad
for them.
gig.
Yeah,
Um,
not at all. Get to play. You get to play some atomic, and you get paid to play
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
That's the dream. How does White win this?
I mean,
I actually
I
don't think
feel like
White
it's
can.
just checking and checking and checking. Here you gotta
But you
just
can never mate.
you can never
The
make
Black
it.
King is going to work his way. The Black King is going to work his way over. Well,
Well,
now it's more complex than it was
because
before. I
yeah,
thought if you
now
just trade both pawns, it's just to draw an ending, king rook versus king. So long as because you would need the king in that in the typical mating complex, you need the king to get opposition against the lone king. But once you get opposition, he steps in place next
yep,
to you.
yep.
But here, yeah, I
That
thought
was
that
it.
maybe there was some drawn chances, but
Once he
not
allowed
so
yeah
easy.
the queen to come in, it was or the eventuality of the queen is happening,
Mm-hmm. I want to
and
jump over and take a look at a Wonders game.
it looks like he lost
Um,
the first game, so he's in the
he
hole.
did. He is in the hole. He lost with the black pieces, which there's no shame in that in this variation. And look at this. He goes for knight h. Wow, he goes for the knight h3 stuff. So he must assume that, probably correctly, Statham is very booked up, I would imagine, in knight f3 lines.
Hmm.
So he has kind of a funny opening, but not bad. The knights are developed to the rim, where, they shine bright, is the quote, right? Knights on the rim shine
Yeah.
brightly.
Wait.
Yeah.
You're right. Knights on the rim shine like a diamond. Yeah, that's definitely the same,
Yeah,
right?
shine bright like a diamond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
absolutely.
Well, I mean, a
Um,
wonder knows what he's doing right with these knights on the rim, so yeah, I'm sure
he
he's
certainly
happy.
looks like it with the time on his clock.
Both of them are, yeah,
He blitzed out moves.
yeah. He's got
This
255
is
still. This is the live position, right?
yeah. This is the live position. I don't know if he did any preparation or if he's just putting out his typical crazy speed and power. But this is a fascinating position.
I mean, yeah. I've had the privilege of watching a wonder play in person, and it was actually at the University of Chicago where he goes to school,
Hey,
and
shout
and
out CCL, by the way.
yeah, shout out the Collegiate Chess League,
Hmm.
the premier college chess competition where a Wonder has played for many years for U Chicago. They
Hmm.
actually have two
Hmm.
GMs, him and Praveen Balakrishnan,
Hmm.
but
Is he on your friend list?
he is also on my friend list. Shout out.
Look at you.
Hey, well, and a Wonder beat Magnus one
Good
time online,
connections.
so
Ah, yeah.
by you know, I've been around
Well,
someone that beat Magnus. So,
I beat Magnus twice in Toronto.
oh yeah, in what?
He didn't know we were playing, so I started the clock and his clock fell, but he still doesn't know.
Yeah,
But
he's
2-0. It's 2-0.
two flags, two flags.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, wow. I mean, a wonder is the atomic wizard, but he's in the hole right now. I mean, realistically, he loses here.
Hmm.
It's he's on the
It's a
brink.
big, big deficit. He has to. You can't lose with the white pieces. I
If
mean,
you really want to
that's
win.
that's what it really comes down to. Everyone goes into atomic knowing that white has a big edge. Big is maybe strong. Has an edge, and there's no forced win that's been discovered for atomic. So you have to be creative with black, and you got to know to pick your spots, and you got to get wins with black in a match situation like this. Um,
Yeah.
wow,
So what we have
this
going on here is
looks
threatening
sketch.
checkmate. Yeah, black is looking good here though.
Bishop F1. Just bishop has to move
Wow.
away. Bishop F1 and bishop G2, and that king is completely
So
stuck.
trapped in a crazy way. I would love to see Bishop
Yeah,
F1 here. That would be so
I would
cool.
love to see bishop F1 as well.
So cool because two pieces, three pieces can
Yeah.
capture realistically, but they all
Hmm.
lose the game on the spot.
Yeah, and you can never put the king on H2 because of knight H3. So,
Yep, exactly. No,
very,
the king is stuck. I mean, even if you don't move the bishop
yeah.
down there. Ah,
There's
there it
bishop
is. Let's
F1, yeah.
go. I'm so happy
Yeah,
to see it. Okay, so now,
yeah.
okay, now the puzzle becomes how do I
How do you get the king or the
slowly.
queen in on the dark squares? Luckily for white, the activity of the queen on A4 is almost more than enough to diminish the threat of this bishop knight menacing over the king. Because if the black queen ever leaves, oh well, there you go.
Wow.
The white queen just comes in anyways. Typical of these atomic positions, right? They just come in anyways.
That's crazy. I'm trying to
Um,
figure out a crazy way to win for black, like queen H4.
Unfortunately, like the continuations all explode the pieces that are menacing.
Yeah.
So it looks terrifying, but I'm not sure that. And he gives up the bishop. Yeah, I'm not sure that there was actually anything forcing.
Wow.
But I wonder if bishop f1, bishop g2 might have been at some point an idea. But
Wow, wow,
yeah,
wow. That's it's so complex in those positions. So a wonder, what's a wonder want to do? I mean, just as
I
we've
wonder
talked
wants
about,
to flex his 2 minutes on the clock to 40
right?
seconds on
He's got to
Satam. This
continue.
is
I mean,
yeah.
he's the tank right now. But I mean, look at this.
I think he's gonna easily clutch this one out and tie this up 1-1.
I
Is what I think.
okay. I all I'm saying is you said it. So if something different happens, then I'll let
I'm
you
on the
get away
books.
with
I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. And you know what? We are tied up 1-1 on the other side of the bracket.
Oh
Just
snap!
keeping tabs on that. I know we're kind of stuck here,
I
but
know. I mean,
I do want to see how this plays out.
I do too. And it's really interesting, just like we were talking about before about the kings, how they both kings are right now isolated in the perfect sense, where there's no pawn, no nothing near them that can be captured.
Mhm.
So I feel like in these situations, you can almost finding an actual checkmate might be better. You can't right now, but it's so
Mhm.
funny how Wonder's queen is just parked on the back
Yeah,
line,
it's
like
just,
it's
I mean,
part
you
of the
can't ever
black
capture it
pieces.
because you lose the rook. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Just chilling. Just chilling.
and you can't move
But,
the rook either
and you
because
can't play something like rook a c8 because queen takes
checkmate.
queen detonates that rook too. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
boom! There we go. There goes the trade, and
Here
now
comes the boom, but those pawns,
it's a
black has
yeah.
the passed pawn.
The pawns, just like we were talking about, the winners that have been winning
There it
these end
goes.
games have been the pawns.
White takes.
Take you
You
take
have to
here.
take. You have to take, but then f5. But
Okay,
rook d7.
now why aren't the
White
pawns
might have
going?
to bail.
Yeah, the black
But white
pawn.
might have to bail out with the draw because. Oh, yeah, that's nice. That's a really
Oh,
nice move.
because
Rook
rook
f7 is
that's
incredible. Right, rook check, rook check, rook check forever. But or detonates and
Yeah,
wins.
rec check and yeah, and then it's over. Okay, wow. And
But
so
now
now,
bishop, yeah, the bishop comes to d1, and there's a 3-2 advantage, but that's not good enough. White is going to use his king to blockade the third and final pawn, and the AD pawns will win the game.
yep,
It
and he
is
just resigns. Yeah, I mean,
over.
yeah,
Mhm.
there's no reason not to just. Oh, I guess he flags,
You
but
are
there's
going to trade two of these pawns for two, and whichever pawn is left, you blockade it, and you just push these guys, and
yeah,
it's good
there's
game
no
over.
stopping those guys. There's no stopping them because the one way you could
Mhm.
stop them in real chess just doesn't work anymore.
It just doesn't
So
work.
just doesn't work. Wow. Okay,
Very
so
beautiful.
that's one
Let's
one
take a
for
look
them,
back
1-1
over
for
it.
both games.
1-1. We have a very nice. I would still say this is the middle game, but very close to an ending. What did we have to start? I'm just curious because this is an e3 queen f3 opening, which the position you can kind of tell when you've played a lot of atomic which positions don't come from knight f3.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the knight f3 stuff tends to have a lot of thematic similarities. So here we have e3 queen f3 stepping away from book. Well, stepping away from the absolute main lines,
Yeah,
and
queens are there. Goes
this
queens.
is so nasty. If you
Yeah,
take the
it's
queen,
checkmate.
bishop takes d. Yeah, bishop
Woof.
takes d2.
A,
That is such a gnarly move. That is such a
you think
gnarly
it's just for a
move.
flex? No, it's a good move
No,
too.
no, that's just the best move in the
Yeah,
position.
yeah.
But wow, what a beautiful idea.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that's peak atomic chess right there.
this looks very dangerous for white. This looks extremely dangerous. Bishop blocks, rook takes, queen up, but that might not be enough. Okay,
I was
okay.
gonna say why not knight takes that no, but the king goes to the checkmate.
Because knight takes d5 would
Oh,
have
there we go.
eliminated. Yeah,
Okay, so he
yeah.
still plays it. The queen is up for grabs whenever.
Well,
No,
rook check. Okay. This is, I think, rook check, and the king is
stuck.
gonna get black. Yeah, it's at the very least a draw, and maybe just a win. Yeah, just a
Yep,
win.
there it is. It's over.
There you
Wow, that
go.
was quick. Right when we tune in.
Yeah, it was perfect. And shout out to Nico for trying a new opening, even though this one backfired. And you can see
How
this is why I suspect as the event goes on, people are going there. Even though you know your opponent's book, knight f3 leads to good positions. He deviates from the main lines, and black should always be happy. And even though white is almost certainly better in these lines as well, even with review and prep, it's never easy to play them. Um, so
Yeah, putting people in the position. I mean, it's the same with regular chess too.
it's a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, you want to put people in the position to think, or honestly, in a funny way, think they see ghosts. Like that's like a classic chess thing. Like I don't know how many games of Magnus's I've watched where he's or if we want to be really poignant on what's going on right now in the candidates, like Jan is like down, he's losing in a way or whatever, but like his opponents start to see ghosts. They're like, I shouldn't take here because he's probably thought of something. You know, he's already done this before so many times. So you don't want to see ghosts and like
It's so hard when you're playing someone you know is stronger than you
yeah.
to settle down and just play the moves. Everyone is coached to do that. Like, hey, just evaluate the position, play the best move. It doesn't matter who you're playing, focus on the best moves. But in practice, that's not so easy.
Yeah, right. It's so, but I have gotten some great positions against players better than me because of that philosophy. Just kind of trying to forget that I'm playing someone better. I'm just playing the same
Yeah.
chess I've played before.
And to anyone out there, who, whether it's atomic or some other variant or just, regular good old classic chess, that's something you should take to heart. And again, even though it's not easy to do in practice, it is doable. So if you're not good at it, just keep practicing it and you'll get your mentality right. You will, and you'll see your rate go up.
Yeah, yeah. One of my favorite video games, Trackmania. The saying that people love to use is "keep on practicing." You just want to always. They're like, "Oh, I want to get better." Well, just keep on practicing.
There's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
Well, no shortcuts that won't get you banned.
Yeah, we're getting you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, there are shortcuts, but you'll get banned.
Yeah, it's not gonna work, unfortunately.
And that's not really you either, now is it?
Yeah.
I do like this for white. It's an interesting position where the proximity of black's queen side kind of looks awkward. And I was about to say, I think we're about to see a massive clearance. And he does, in fact, like queen d6, which prompts the explosion. Yeah, anytime you're so knotted up, very, very tough. This would be a monumental comeback, I wonder.
Yeah, it would be crazy
I
because
mean,
you can't take the bishop here because oh you
I
can. I was
mean,
worried about the open
what
file that
about?
you've now opened.
Oh, it's funny. If you castle, you go knight f2.
Yep, and it's over.
Yeah, yeah.
But what you
Well,
want is why not rook? Uh, yeah, rook f1.
rook f1, knight f2.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
And I think he's trying to open up the g file to get his queen's rook in via g1, which I don't see how black can stop. I think this is about to be curtains very soon, unless there's just some really creative idea. I mean, you can even lift the rook along the a file now, but I do think rook g1 strikes me as the best move. Rook g1, rook g8, rook trades, rook versus knight. But that outside a pawn is very dangerous. Maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with that outside a pawn.
yeah, I
Maybe
was
a
gonna
trade of
say,
rooks
dude,
would be bad.
pass pawns are
Mm-hmm.
always freaking me out here. But I feel like you have to
Yeah,
get on
so
the
he
open
goes for rook
file.
f1, but knight f2, which is what we talked about.
Yeah,
Just instantly, whenever rook f1 was played, knight f2 was the move. Rook g1, rook g8,
and you
and
can't.
that a pawn.
The a
Oh, he
pawn
doesn't go rook
seems.
g8. He doesn't go g8. But why would you allow rook b7, which white didn't play?
Huh.
I don't know. That one's beyond me. So I thought, what if rook b7?
King got to get out of
I
there.
guess you just move the king calmly.
And the king. Yeah. Okay. So
And then, but so maybe white just sees that there's no point in that move. Okay, we have some more
why
moves.
not king e2 here, like to run away? Is there some
King
sort of checking?
e2. I think you
Because
have to maybe be a little.
I want to get my rook active. I want my rook is so
Yeah, you want to
dead
you want
right
to slide
now.
this guy via this
Yeah.
right. I guess maybe you're a little bit worried about knight e5 hitting the d pawn,
Yeah. Then
but
you push that pawn.
and now like the knight starts.
The knight's a dancer, man. The
Hey,
knights love to dance.
oh, this looks. He might have found. He found a way to massage the position. Knight e5, d3, knight here. Actually, yeah.
Okay, you're
He has to
blocking. You gotta
maybe
block.
you got to block, but now you force the rooks off the board, or you force this rook off the board with promotion. That whenever the rook tries to enter,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
he
have
just
to.
takes it. He doesn't wait. This is not
Yeah,
easy
slide the rook
either.
across. I was gonna say slide the rook across and you get up
Hmm.
to start causing
The knight
problems.
is going to come back and block again. Oh wow, he actually gets aggressive, but I feel like he needs to maybe keep that knight close to home to block. Wow.
Wow, he's allowing it. That's crazy. And
Yeah,
now
I
the
don't
queen's
love
coming.
that.
Yep.
I think it's now. Yeah, I think he needed to keep the knight on the seventh,
Now I'm
and the
worried
knight
about
would toggle between.
real
Yeah,
checkmate, like actual checkmate from white.
yeah, that's absolutely on the board. But he's running his king straight to the other king,
Yep.
which is that common motif where how do you separate the black king from the white king now? This is now the technical way to try to win. And black is just going to follow that white king wherever he will go. Rocky style. I will follow him.
Wow, that's absolutely crazy because it's a draw? A Wonder's pulled out this draw?
I'm not sure that this is a technical draw, but
Look
these
at where
sorts of
this king
endings are
is right
never
now.
easy to find.
The
Yeah,
king
you
is
keep
being
falling, but how do you imagine a position? First, you have to imagine the win because no one's
yeah.
read Devoretsky's Atomic Endgames manual.
You mean Greg's
You have to.
atomic Sengen manual?
That's right.
Yeah,
That'll be
yours,
my
yours,
mark on the
yours.
chess world. Uh, you do have a queen and a rook, so you would think there might be some configuration where black following the white king puts him next to one of these black pawns, which you then detonate, like we saw in that one game where the radius is not touching your king. Where that is, he's trying to get that to the c pawn right now. He's trying to massage his king around that pawn, where the only way to keep touching his king detonates against the c pawn,
He might have.
which I think he's found it. If this is a win, this is how to win.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is. And he does,
Here we go. The kings are separated now.
but now
We only have 10 seconds for.
he stays along the A file. That's really, really nice. But now he frees up his E pawn.
Now we're gonna have two
Oh, this is
queens.
nice.
We're gonna have two
Yeah,
queens.
I think that should be enough. You bring the queen around to maybe B1 or A1 or somewhere along the file to prevent the king. Well, no, you still follow. You still follow because you can't be captured.
Yeah. Wow. So the two.
This would be insane if this is a draw.
Oh my God! You got to be careful here too with this white. With this white.
Oh no, where does the king F2? This is really scary.
You can't take
Can
the
you run the
knight.
king up A2, A3, and then the king follows A2, A3? Oh, he just takes the knight.
Just takes the
This is
pawn.
Yeah, but now pawn push,
Well, yeah, no, this move
right?
was actually so genius by Wonder
Yeah, pawn push. Here we go.
because now you have your own pass
Go
pawn.
time.
This is
Yeah, it's go
crazy.
time, baby.
This is actually blowing my mind from two promoted queens to
Hmm.
possibly black promoting to a queen.
Yeah, I mean, that's atomic, baby. Let's go.
This is crazy. And
And
that other queen is just chilling, stuck.
absolutely. And this is the beauty of seeing like two very good atomic players going at it. Like it's very easy to get discouraged in atomic because of that steep learning curve where you're having unusual tactics. There is a heavy reliance on knowing key opening ideas. But once you get past that, you really get into the beauty of atomic, like with positions like this, which is just so counter to what you see in normal chess.
Oh, okay, so we have an actual queen move. I was gonna say, are they gonna just follow each
Yeah.
other for the rest of
I
the
mean,
game?
I'm not really sure how to make progress with white. Again, you want to try, yeah, but now king c1 and king d2 or king, yeah, either way.
Queen check, I was gonna
Um,
say, yeah. So now, and that's it. You just shuffle right here.
can you play queen d2 and king c? No, the king can't. Oh, has he? This is like
No,
very
I think
interesting.
no matter what, it feels like no matter what, he's stuck.
Yeah,
He's gonna be with
yeah.
that other
I'm
king.
because he can always promote if the king moves.
Yeah, exactly. If the king moves, he
Um,
promotes. So, and the king will never move, but the black king
and I
will.
don't know how you can separate the king from these b2 and d2 squares. If there's a technique, I'm not seeing it.
And okay, is there a 50 move rule?
Well, he's threatening mate now, but just king back to d2 or c2, right?
Yeah, either one,
Does it
wherever.
matter?
Yeah, as long as you're touching the other king,
No,
you're
just
safe.
yeah, king d2. So um maybe at some point white will try to move the king in either direction to try to catch black in like a pre-move. But I mean also he has 5 seconds on his clock. So like a mouse slip pressure. It's a draw probably, but like
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
you
But
and this is where the increment really shines.
is there 50 move rule? Like, cause the no pawns are gonna move,
There should be.
right?
I don't see why that wouldn't be coded in.
Right. If we discover that right now, that'd be hilarious.
That would be
Oh,
fun.
king moved. Okay, king's out of the way now, which means this pawn can promote. But you can't promote
Yeah,
now. It'll be checkmate.
it would explode.
So you have to stay in contact.
Wow, he's gonna
So now promote and now to trade the queens.
a key position in Chapter 5 of Gregoretsky's Endgame Atomic Manual.
Shout out Gregoretsky's. Wow.
Shout
I got
out
a record.
Gregoretsky.
I wish I had the picture. Okay, so that's it. Now,
Yeah, they're just going to get a repetition. There's nothing to do here.
yeah,
Yeah.
there it is. Draw.
What
Wow.
a game. Wow.
Wow.
Wow, what a
We'll
game.
quickly
Beautiful.
switch over to the bracket because there's a decisive result. We have a finalist.
Yeah,
We have a
we
finalist.
do. Timothy Rogov gets to the finals. Our very own Dwayne Johnson,
Dwayne Johnson,
wins 3-1.
So that means we've got an untitled player in the final guaranteed.
Hey,
is
look,
pretty crazy.
it's nothing is easy, right? And he's going to face a title player,
He will
a
face
GM or a CM. Yeah, so
And has he only faced title players?
I
I think
think,
so, right?
yeah.
Wow. Well, shout out. Okay, let's get back over to
Let's
this
get back
game.
into this. And he's back at it with knight h3 instead of knight f3. So we do get this, and he sticks with the d4 line. We're controlling the knight. We've all that's so lovely. There are a ton of sacrificial knight ideas in atomic chess. So many times you're giving up the knight for a pawn just to open up lines of attack. And it's absolutely worth the material investment.
Yeah, we're learning that for sure. And another thing I want
Mm-hmm.
to point out that I think is super important is a Wonder managed to hold that draw with the black pieces, and now we're in this very decisive situation of 1.5, where it's like
Where he
for
has the
all
white
marbles.
pieces.
He has the white pieces. He wins.
Yeah.
He's through to the
He's
final.
got to be the odds on favorite. I think these players all tend to win between 70 to 85% of their black games, which is an outrageous number for Atomic. That tells you why they're so good.
That's crazy, actually.
But against an equal player, like, you would think that the odds drop substantially, and you would think A Wonder would be the odds on favorite to win this year.
Yeah.
But that's why they got to play the game.
And look at him barreling down.
Oh, but whoa. What's the trick after pawn takes? Blowing up the queen?
You're taking
What's the trick?
You're taking a knight, a bishop, and a queen with you, right?
Yeah, and you're threatening queen d8 mate.
How do
Was
you,
this a mouse slip? What am I missing? Just takes and then you're playing
you
queen
take?
d8. But you know what, bishop? Here you just block it because you don't
Okay, what about
want to play
bishop?
queen d8 after bishop e4 because then
And you don't want to play bishop. You don't want to play bishop. What is it? Bishop
What am I
D6,
missing?
like to
Is there
block.
knight e5 trick? The knight is not on f3, so the f pawn can move. So like takes knight e5, f3. Maybe his thought is play knight to d2,
Wow,
blocking the queens.
a wonder in the tank for a while
And he
didn't
doesn't
play
take. I
take.
really wonder what the situation was there. Hmm. Because to me, it looked like after takes, knight e5, threatening f2,
Yeah,
f3,
you're
knight
still up
f.
checkmate.
Now knight here, and maybe the bishop is lost. Maybe that's what happened. So like, I don't think I can actually move the pieces to show it.
No,
But
yeah.
if takes, so like if takes, these are all gone. Knight e5, you must address this threat on f3.
Why can't you just play
After
queen?
because it would detonate. Check that you don't have to respond to check like that one
Oh,
game.
yeah, okay,
The
okay.
knight f2 just wins on the spot. So you'd have to play something like f3, and after that, knight d2, and this bishop cannot move because there's an e2 and a g2 pawn, and knight takes bishop wins the game. And that is why a wonder figured out much faster than us that you cannot take on c7. What a deep trapping idea by Statham. That was a really nice attempt.
He knows what he's doing.
Really nice attempt.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow.
I gotta admit to you, if I was in a Wonder's shoes, I would have taken that pawn in like 2 seconds
Right.
and lost the game. I would
Lost
have
it.
lost with the white piece, and that's why these guys are good with black. They see these deep combinations and ideas, and they're not attached to the material.
And yeah, and I mean, it takes it takes a high level player to, and you got to trust your opponent a little bit. I mean, they know
Mm-hmm.
that this is one of my best friends likes to talk about critical junctures, and that's like
Mm-hmm.
a critical juncture where one of top players have this unique ability to know that this is a critical juncture. Like this is the moment I
Mm-hmm.
should think. I like
Yeah, you
yeah,
have to,
yeah. This moment right here is going to decide a lot coming up. So I
and
need
it
to.
sure did.
Yeah,
That 95 knight d2 trick is incredible.
yeah.
An incredible awareness of the structure.
I wouldn't be surprised. So a wonder is offering essentially the possibility of black to create a passed pawn.
Black can't take because of bishop b5.
Uh,
This is very dangerous for black.
Bishop
This
b5,
is
and
another
then
critical moment. This is an incredibly critical. And guess what? Big thing. This
yeah,
is absolutely a critical moment.
yeah, you're right, bishop, and then yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
he
even
does not
intercept.
take.
Wow.
You
Okay.
don't want bishop e5. You don't
Yeah.
want to mess with that because if you, however, you block takes and you lose a piece,
You lose, and yeah,
and then also this guy comes.
just so much pain become.
It's
Yeah,
very bad.
that queen is super
Very
important to
scary.
be blocking the pawn there on d6.
Mm-hmm. Incredible.
I mean, yeah, I now that bishop has the access to b5.
Yeah.
You can stop it.
Statham is so tricky. He just castles away from it. But now that king has a ton of things near him.
Right, all
Bishop to c4, bishop d5, bishop c4, bishop d5, maybe.
yeah, bishop c4, bishop
Okay,
d5.
bishop d5 still.
So you can't block. So
I,
just
he wants to come to e8
yep, and threaten winning the
and
game.
then wiggle that guy in like we've seen before. Those bishops are such a thorn in the position of these castled kings.
He's like
It's a very key
that.
motif.
That queen is so important to be blockading there. He's saying I'm
Yeah.
more willing to give it away
Yeah.
than move it out of
It's
the way.
absolutely. You cannot let that bishop get into e8. So, and it's just a queen.
It's just a
It's
queen.
just a queen.
What
It's
we've
just a queen.
anything we've learned today, it's just a queen, and it really is.
It's just a queen. It's really about the pawns in the end game, anyways. The soul of chess.
And we're getting closer and closer to bullet game territory. I'm pretty sure in 5 seconds,
I like a wonder's chances
Matt
as the
Faye's
time
about to
goes
get the
down.
tick tick tick. Your time's
Yeah.
counting down, man, and you have to make a decision.
Wow. Yeah.
He's 14
Yeah.
seconds.
Okay. This is good, but maybe a little scary after.
The
You
rook.
can't play a move like knight f4 because queen g4.
Why not? Why not rook
Because
onto the open file here? And
something like this would be very dangerous for white because a trade would lose your knight as well.
Mhm.
Actually, black might have ideas of queen g4 anyways in some positions. You do because you cannot play like bishop f1 because queen takes queen would win. Very dangerous. I'm thinking black has counter chances here. It's not easy though.
What about rook f1? You're threatening to win the game, no? If you take the
You
pawn
could play
on.
f5,
Yeah.
f5, or bishop f6.
Okay.
Bishop f6 also defends it.
Yeah, yeah. I guess
You just
bishop
plug the
f6,
file.
You just gotta clog it up. Exactly, clog it up. So
Like the
queen's
never
out of
mind.
there, and now are we gonna get rid of this queen to
And
make
there's
room
yeah,
again?
queen. The queen does get to g4 eventually. White's king is looking happy with nothing around him.
Mm-hmm.
What
Rook
about queen h4 here?
to threaten checkmate.
You have to go bishop h6. Yeah, queen h4, bishop h6, and then bishop or queen f6, and the bishop can't block, and the queen is detonating. I think that if this is not a draw, if White has some way to get out of this,
Yeah, out of these
queen
checks.
h, yeah, because the forcing idea here is bishop h6, queen f6, and then queen mates, and it's just over. So if White can survive these checks, which there you go,
Bang.
he did not.
He did not. Wow.
Yeah, in fact, wow.
Wow. So that's it.
Wow.
GG for
Matthew advances, and
GG for a wonder.
our
Wow.
tournament early favorite actually, with the white pieces, goes down. That is
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah, let's see that again in the last
That
sequence.
is incredible. And maybe a little greedy. Maybe it is just a draw with the knight
Yeah.
rotating. Um, maybe it's just a draw.
But what? So what happened here? We had check and
He tried to find a way out of the knight checks, but he missed
ran
the
into the
bishop takes
bishop check.
pawn.
Yep.
And again, we see that time trouble got to him in the end.
Wow.
But just to kind of show if White had a move, so like if we just play something random,
Yeah.
well, actually, then queen mate immediately, right?
Yeah.
Queen would just
Exactly.
checkmate. But like bishop h6, then queen here is just a massive threat
You
that
can't. They're
White
threatening
had.
everything, right?
Mm-hmm. But I thought this is probably just a draw. If there's some way out, because you can never touch this pawn. You can never step to these squares so long as the
Yeah.
bishop is there.
That other bishop
And
might
you,
come in check, but then you just take with the pawn, so it
yeah.
doesn't really work.
So what happens if king here? You just
Um.
check again.
Mm-hmm.
King here, and you're still threatening
The
queen.
mates.
So
Yeah.
how
I.
does black actually save this position?
I'm truly shocked that
Maybe.
I wonder. I wonder. Didn't at least give this a shot almost.
Yeah, I'm actually. The more I look at it, the more I'm wondering if this was just actually winning for him, and he just kind of forgot that the bishop could take on
Yeah.
c3.
That Fianchetto bishop. It's funny because the black king is looking kind of weak in my opinion with all these pieces around it.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy for us here as commentators to
Right.
like talk without 3 seconds on our clock and having to make the moves and having time to review. But maybe I'm not seeing a direct win for black, and the queen threat persists once the checks. Actually, wait a second. No, yeah, no. There's
Yeah.
nothing. There's nothing here.
I don't
There's just
see it.
nothing here. I don't
Wow.
see anything.
Well,
Bishop h6, then queen f6, maybe. Yeah.
well, let's look at the bracket real fast and see
Yeah.
our final bracket. We have
Mm-hmm.
we have two
Yeah. No, Satham's a CM.
are is what I was gonna ask is sorry, my brain just short circuited a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah.
because
It's all good. Atomic has that effect.
do these guys not have the same last name?
Um,
Matt Fay and Timothy?
are they brothers?
Are they brothers? That's what
Are
I'm
they
questioning.
brothers?
Are they brothers? Do
Are
you
they
have a
playing next to
brotherly
each other?
matchup?
Are they in a house together? I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the producer
Yeah,
thing.
we're
I'm
gonna
gonna
check with our
tap.
stats
Yeah, I'm gonna
guys.
tap in my
Absolutely.
headset and be like, hey, are these guys brothers? Because that's what I'm seeing, the same last name. So
Yeah.
they're fighting for
How did we not notice that
way sooner.
before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the winner gets $1,000 cash money, and second place gets 750. So the brothers are going
Yeah.
home. If they are brothers, they're going home with some
So
decent
these
cash.
guys have played each other several times in Atomic. I pulled up some of their games. The finalists have met before.
Uh huh.
Let's take a look at a couple of those games while we're waiting for the finals to start.
All right, I'm getting the word
Um,
in right now. Let me switch over to
huh?
those games.
Are
I'm
they
getting the word in
brothers?
right now. They are in fact brothers.
Let's
They
go.
are
Two
in
year
fact brothers.
difference?
Wow, 2 year difference.
Yeah.
2 year
How about
difference.
that?
2 year
A
difference.
brawl, all brothers brawl in the finals.
All brothers
I'd
brawl.
love to see it.
They're both young savages.
They
I would
must
argue.
practice with each other.
Yeah, 100%.
Would you play Atomic over the board,
Over the board atomic. Yeah,
or do
why
you
not?
need to have the boom? You need to have the boom though.
Well,
Maybe you say
you can
boom.
say boom. You can yell boom
Yeah.
depending on it.
I would be yelling boom.
Yeah,
I
I feel
would get
like
in trouble for yelling boom.
atomic
Yeah.
gives yeah.
Yeah. Gives you the extra energy. So in the last game they played each other, 1+5 Atomic. What time
1 +
control?
5. The atomic.
Okay, we have a
bros is
theoretical
correct.
line, and and Dwayne did beat his brother. So who's the older brother?
The older brother is The older brother is Timothy, which is Dwayne.
Team was Dwayne, untitled, but maybe maybe slightly better at atomic.
Might be slightly better atomic. He is 2 years older. He is 19, while his brother is
Wow.
17. So they are.
Well, accomplished already.
Wait, and this was 1+5, correct?
This is 1+5,
So Dwayne
and
Dwayne has gained 50 seconds and is gonna win.
oh, this isn't this. This is they've already played this.
No,
This
yeah,
is
that's what I'm saying.
a
In this
history.
game,
This isn't the finals.
yeah, but
This
I'm
is just
saying
I wanted to see what their matchups look like in the past.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah, he's just crushing,
that he
absolutely
he gained a minute
cruising.
and 12 seconds during this last game they played. That's crazy.
Yeah, and in the 1-5 preceding that, oh man, I thought D6 was lost by force. I
Wow,
thought that the Pierce was lost. Yeah, because now Queen D7 and you take and you're just up too much
too much
material.
material, so much
And
material.
you have to play Queen D7, and I don't even know if you do take though. You do take, okay. Okay. Well,
Well,
not
there
much
you
to say. Nothing to see here.
nothing to see here. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
wow, that's
and
so crazy. Our brother, our
brother versus
brotherly,
brother matchup,
brotherly final, the Atomic Bros, as was said in chat.
and
Um,
it will be starting soon. But I just have to take one last peek. They played each other in the very first Atomic Arena we had this season, and we got a classic knight at 3 E3. But
wow.
Bishop D3 is a little unusual, and White did end up just uh,
Oh,
clearing the way, and this is going to be more than enough. Yeah, that queen just wiggles in, and it's going to be boomtown. Yeah,
wow.
beautiful.
Well, okay.
So,
I'm getting word the game is on. So
well, in that case,
let's
let's
check it
take a
out.
look.
We got the
And
finals, same format as before. First one to 2.5. Who started with
absolutely,
white? It looks like
Statham starts with White.
Matt
That's
Play, the
the
younger
younger
brother.
brother.
The
The
younger
younger
brother
brother.
starting with white.
Yeah, and we have a classic line. These menacing knights again at any point.
Oh, yes, these knights,
Um,
as well said.
Note that this greedy move just loses on the spot.
No chance, yeah.
So no chance he falls for that. And here we see this king f1 move, which earlier on we
This
thought,
exact position, right? The
mhm,
pawns, the same way
yeah,
on the dark squares, the two
we're
knights.
becoming theory masters.
Hey,
That's what I'm learning.
I'm gonna play
The
some
question
atomic
at the
after
time
this.
was, yeah, we were like, hey man, can he play king f1 here? And then he did. And now in this position, we were like, oh, he's going king
Yeah,
f1.
obviously
We
king
know.
one. That's the
Yeah,
theory. Well,
obviously.
this is theory,
Yeah,
right?
it's theory.
Wow.
Those light squares look extremely tender to me, and I am scared for black.
Extremely tender.
And he's not wasting any time pouncing. I don't know how you get your queen into the fray though,
Yeah,
because you need to like you can't play like you if you could you would play queen d3 and queen g6, but that would lose to knight e3, blowing up the
yeah.
queen. But he gets rid of that knight. But now
That's what we saw
again,
last
queen
time too,
d3
right?
is still
That knight was gotten rid of,
too scary, too scary.
and
How do you unknot this
yeah.
without incredible material loss? That's the question for white now.
Last time it was something like, what is that? A5 or
Mhm.
A4, like something like that, pushing the outside pawn all the way.
Yeah. And look at this great move, just bludgeoning the position open with d5, d4. Very beautiful. Black showing excellent awareness here.
What do you
And
play
even
here?
though
Take?
yeah, I mean,
E
his
takes?
forces might be weaker in terms of material, how we evaluate material, but they are so much better positioned. These are just so caught in a foxhole together. It's dangerous.
Yeah, that's the thing about atomic, right? Like, not only are they bad because they're not developed, but they're also bad because they're right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of like
Mm-hmm.
all the cavalry for white. One good explosion in that corner, and you're essentially eliminating all the
Yeah,
cavalry,
I mean, at any point that knight could at least win a rook, but he's doing even more, just tying up all the pieces together.
tying
And
them.
white, like, what do you do with white? What's your plan? G4?
Has to be, right? I mean, I don't know.
You would think G4, but maybe with black you push.
Oh,
Okay.
this is even more clamping because I was gonna say
Yeah.
A4 is what I want to do to like open up air in some way.
I wonder if in some move, if black is actually preparing the move knight E1. He's preparing the move knight E1 to threaten the G pawn, and then he takes bishop, blowing up the queen, bishop, knight, but keeping the knight. And white doesn't
Yeah, he's
let
not
him
gonna allow
have
that to
that
happen.
option.
Yeah,
Knight takes bishop. I think that maybe knight to E1 was his plan there.
and now yeah, that I honestly think that was a really good move because now you're exploding
Yeah.
that knight without having it be lost to the other knight
You're
taking
kind
it.
of resolving some of the tension of the position, right? Like white needed to figure out a way to unknot these pieces. And although black had a very good tactical idea here, I would think It does solve the knight. So
Mm.
white is one step closer to maybe getting his pieces out.
Yeah, I mean, if bishop check comes, what do you do
Mm-hmm.
with black? Do you take that bishop, or do you take the rook, or do you ignore it?
That's a great question. Bishop check, you can't like exactly play rook blocks because after this the queen comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And you could keep your knight on. Yeah, he's gonna go knight. Yeah, so he's preemptively
Blocking that diagonal.
prophylaxis, blocking that diagonal. And I think that this is probably better than taking because the bishop make him take so you have the move, right?
Yeah,
You don't like the initiative is very important, even more so when things are exploding around you. So like, why take the bishop when you can block on b5 and get the move back in the same position? Because with both pieces coming off, it's the same position, but with black to play instead of white to play.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, the prophylaxis or being preemptive in atomic is
Mm-hmm.
extra, like extra important.
And by the way, an added benefit of playing the knight here now is that if bishop h3, knight takes h2 detonates the rook and the bishop.
Mm-hmm.
So by preemptively doing this, you've completely removed the option to play bishop to h3.
Queen goes off. There's my h4 move finally.
That's my h pawn.
No more games or yeah or h4 a4.
Yeah, yeah.
There's that. Well, that's one of the things that I was thinking about as well. Is like now you're eliminating that exact threat that was formerly
Now
posed by
you
the
can
knight
now
taking.
bishop h3 is back on the table.
Exactly. I don't like my king being x-rayed by the bishop, but
Yeah.
now I feel safer going. Before I was afraid of stepping up with the king onto a light square because of the queen, but now that the queen's gone,
Mhm.
I feel like
You
the
want to be
light squares end up
careful.
being safe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's quite the turnaround. Oh, just locking up that king's rook.
This
Just
is
locking him
that might be
up.
the theme of this tournament is these
Yeah,
bishops
I
on the
love it.
back ranks of either
Love to
side.
see it. You
You're
love to see it.
uh-oh.
Oh my
The
goodness.
threats are serious. I feel like you have to
I
play
don't love just G4.
yeah.
I don't love what I'm seeing for black in this position. I think we might be Dunzo here.
Rook check.
Dunzo Washington. Oh, he blocks it. He does find a nice way. This is nice. But King G. And see, I kind of like G4 more because after King G2, H4 here would have been a little like would have been not an issue. Black resigns. Yeah, this
There
is
it is.
just yeah, very
There's no
nice.
escaping. There's no you can't block
No, that
and
you can't block as the pawn controls
the one
for people
important square.
watching, and then
Yeah.
the rook comes in and it's going to be lights out.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's a
Wow.
white pieces win as we kind of expect. A white pieces
Yeah.
win, and it's the younger of the atomic bros that strikes first. Kind of expected in a way with the white pieces. So let's see what happens in the
And we do
reverse.
have another knight of 3 e3. The championship is on the line and bragging rights between brothers, which
I was gonna
I
say
mean,
definitely more important, right?
yeah, I mean there are definitely some points in my life where $1,000 is nice, but the $250 difference is like it's really about the bragging rights,
Exactly. No,
you
it's
know?
more about the you wake up the next
Yeah.
morning, you look at your
And
brother,
he's
and
like,
you're
"Oh,
like, hey
hey,
man,
how'd it go?
yeah, remember
You playing
yesterday?
Atomic today?"
Just livid.
Living.
Wow. Well,
So we get these active knights again. This time, Black does not accept the sacrifice knight, and I'm wondering if that's going to come back and bite him.
there it is. He's gonna
Yeah,
take it.
I'm
This.
wondering if that's going to come back and bite him because now he gets okay, but you just defend this with c3.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that that knight is very potent. I would not feel great if I was the black pieces here. Conversely, I would feel great if I was the white pieces. So
Huh.
let's see. Hmm. I think you leave it. Yeah. Okay. A5 is fine. Um, so knight. Yeah. I was trying to figure out if it was better to play knight c7 or knight a7. And well, there's our answer. Knight a7.
Yeah, here it
I
comes.
thought knight c7 is kind of interesting because after you can't go king f7 because of course knight to e6 detonates the king. So you'd have to go king f8. But then maybe you have ideas of playing b3 takes bishop and bishop a3, but I think this is too slow,
Mm-hmm.
which is what he saw. So he goes for just the material, which is fine.
Yeah. I mean, the black knights. The black position. I feel like I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad. He has good diagonals he can reach and quickly quickly accessing key diagonals is huge. And of
Yeah,
course, this knight on g4 is just,
it's
wouldn't shock me
beautiful.
at some point if queen takes knight.
I feel like we've seen Queen takes knight that
Many
night
times.
specifically. Yeah, because of
Yeah.
because that
Menacing.
exactly. Yeah.
Just menacing. big think here by Statham. Um, Very dangerously long think
Yeah,
for
I would
castles
say
because
dangerously long.
it's dangerously long. Dwayne is not out of his comfort zone. Maybe now he's thinking about castles if he hasn't seen it before in these sorts of positions, how to punish it. Bishop, okay, Bishop B5 is still a big threat. Again, obvious threat of just detonating here, but
Yep.
also the threat of wiggling in, as we have seen many times,
Wiggling
and
in
starting to restrict.
is
Yeah,
very well said,
yeah.
because that's what's. I mean, that's kind of what we've learned about atomic chess is you want to wriggle your way around to make sure that the position is perfect, and then
And then you strike.
you strike. Yeah, and oftentimes I feel like a perfect position involves a bishop on the back rank.
You
Ha,
know, I've been a bishop back rank enjoyer. You can put it down. I've
dude.
been an enjoyer of bishops on the back rank.
I'm becoming a big enjoyer of bishop on the back. Honestly, I'm becoming an enjoyer of the ludicrousness that like is achieved by
Let's
atomic chess
go.
in the sense like yeah, it's like oh yeah, you have these rules for chess. Ha, those are dumb
Throw them
rules.
out the
Like
window.
yeah, we've got better rules for you. And then you're playing here.
And that's what, if you're tuning in and you've never played Atomic before, throw yourself in there. It's okay. You will learn quickly why certain openings don't work. You'll adjust to the theory, and it's a very fun world to step into. Um, Statham had a brief disconnect and reconnect. I wonder if he was having a long think or if he's having some latency issues. Um,
One question I
Probably.
well naturally my head goes to the fact that are they not in the same house?
So this is what I was thinking. His older brother is on a landline, and he's turning off the Wi-Fi to really mess with his brother.
Oh
Look, I
snap!
mean,
Little
you
brotherly
just, you,
tactics.
yeah, exactly. Like you do what you got to do.
You do what you got to do. I honestly,
Yeah,
if they weren't brothers, I would think that's foul play. But if, as
that's
brothers,
yeah.
everything's on the table.
Everything's on the
Everything's on
table
the
now.
table. There's no debate.
Everything. Also Bishop D7 in some lines might be a move. Not just restricting everything a little more and
Yeah.
taking away some key squares.
This time advantage though is kind of important, honestly,
Yeah,
because
it's massive.
it's massive.
I mean, 10 seconds to like you're playing on increment now.
You're
And
playing on
I do
increment.
not want to play on increment here. The,
Yeah.
the white king is always going to have safe squares to run to in this nice void. Black is saying no, he doesn't.
Right.
Black is saying no, he doesn't.
If
Bishop D, and there it is. The move I wanted to talk about earlier with Bishop D7, dislodging the queen from this critical dark square diagonal. Wow, what a move!
I
And
don't care about my queen.
yeah,
I'll just make a new one.
no, I got a new
I'll
queen
just make a
on
new one.
deck.
Yeah.
I got a new queen on deck, man. Got a cold one waiting. Got the queen on hand. Like, let's go.
That's crazy. Wow. Okay, so then what are we gonna see next then? Are we gonna
Actually, what do you do?
like do
Like
you
bishop
take that
takes
bishop?
bishop, so
Yeah.
they so the problem is that like you're two moves away from defending it with like bishop takes bishop, which kills your own queen, by the way, and then like king f2 to defend it with the rook. But even if you tried this, bishop takes bishop on push, king f2, like you're just very down.
Yeah,
I
this
mean,
is
and now you have to play like queen. He's threatening mate first. Very
yeah, gotta
funny,
throw in
but
some mate.
ultimately bishop here, which threatens mate again, and now he's going to play king of. Wow, he plays cast.
Castles. Wow. And we were just talking about how there was so much room over there on that other side.
Yeah, and he just said, "There's room over here.
Yeah.
I'm moving in."
Wow.
This is scary. I think White has
White's
some
got this.
advantage, but it's not easy.
I think White's got a decent advantage because of what we've
Yeah,
learned, which is pawns. They're so strong. And here, even after takes, I would even take that pawn because then you have four pawns against one rushing.
yeah. I think
That's
this is just going to be. You can't push it again though,
no, you cannot.
and you want this bishop to shut this rook down. Anytime the rook tries to go, well, this is tough now because the rook gets to a to
Now we have
a.
activity. Yeah, this is not good.
Yeah. This is scary.
I mean, you push that pawn, and then why not push the C pawn? Continue to push it. If
You may have
takes,
to, but with checks.
yeah,
How do you get out of these checks? You can never step up. You can
because
never
then he'll
step to
just
these
take one of
squares
the
because of
pawns.
detonation, and you
Yeah.
can never come this way because of detonation. You would need to wiggle along the first rank.
Yep. Now we've
Um,
got two
but
passers.
then it's just a draw. I don't know.
Is
It
this a
looks like a
draw?
draw
I
to
think this
me.
is a draw.
Yeah, because like you can never step up because of explosion, and if you run along the first, you just follow. You
Yeah.
just follow.
I'm
I'm not
surprised.
sure how you get out of this draw.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Black's even making other moves that aren't the draw. Yeah, it looks like we're
I mean,
getting
maybe
it.
there are winning chances if White overpresses. We've seen that a little bit, but yeah, we're just gonna get a
Yeah,
draw.
it's GG. You know, good
And
handshake.
Yeah, that's a very nice game.
I mean, that's a huge
And
result for the younger
the
brother
younger brother
Mafe.
keeps his lead. He
Mafe
keeps his lead.
keeps his lead, and more importantly, has the white pieces in a win, and you're the champion situation. I
Win and
mean,
you're in.
this is weeks of atomic arenas
Yeah,
are
over a month
culminating right now in this
this moment.
one game. This could be it. This could be it.
So, what does our older brother have in the bag with the black pieces? And
Wow. Okay, so that means, yeah.
Queen
So
f3, maybe. Maybe Queen f3 is actually, yeah, Queen f3.
look, the older brother has this opportunity. Like he doesn't necessarily need the win. A draw is still he's still alive with the draw, but
Mhm.
it's the skin of his teeth. So
Yeah, for sure.
he's
I
got.
think you leave the bishop there. No, you don't, because you don't have the light squares if bishop takes queen. Maybe you actually do need to move the bishop in this particular situation, because there are many points where you actually leave the bishop. Yeah, so he saves the queen, which if that light diagonal opens up with pawn takes bishop, that's very sketchy for black.
Super sketchy.
Not to mention queen c7 is just an immediate threat, right? If white plays queen c, oops, hello, queen c7, you have to take it
Yeah, you're threatening
because of
too many
mate.
checkmates. Yeah.
And he blocks queen c7. A massive threat is parried by the move e5. But
Now knight jumps in. No. Oh no, the bishop takes. Yeah,
yes,
but bishop
but
takes.
then the queen wiggles in.
Oh
This is
wow.
very scary. Okay, this is also fine.
Wow, interesting. I thought it was screaming to put the knight right there where it's
I
essentially
thought so
threatening two
too because you
checkmates.
have to take it, and then but then f5, right? So queen g4, f5, and the pawn blocks, but then maybe queen g6 in some lines. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Well,
I'm
we're
not
here.
sure.
We're here now. There's no I'm sure
There's
there's
no
some.
going back.
Yeah. Wow. Wait. Okay. So you're giving up the queen. The
Whoa.
queen here.
Yeah, but rook comes in.
Yeah. The rook's very dangerous and scary in that situation.
Yeah, and he blocks the entire situation because if you take that bishop, you still lose the queen, but the h pawn or the a pawn, wow,
Yeah.
the
Hey, we've been
brains
here.
are
We've
getting
been at it
fried.
for a little bit.
Brains are getting fried, but the pawn would remain.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see again.
Oh, and now takes, and the rook gets in anyways.
Yep. He forced the
Oh
issue.
man,
That
that's so lovely.
that was such a perfect example of how the
Yeah.
queen is both like valuable and like vulnerable
Mhm.
all at the same time.
All
Like
at
the
once.
queen's gonna get captured one way or another, but now you're opening up this file.
Yep. And
And
shout out people, it's okay to be vulnerable out there. So let your heart open, you know? It's okay. Just
this is a
shout out
supportive
people out
message
there
from
going through
your
something.
host Max
Yeah,
here.
that's right. The chess community team here will support you.
We will
So,
support you, especially if you're getting checkmated or blown up in atomic chess.
hey, because I'm used to getting blown up in atomic. I don't know about you. I'm used to getting checkmated in regular
Regular
chess too.
chess,
So,
yeah.
like, yeah, it just happens.
I don't even know, man. I think I'm resigning half the time because I'm just in these losing positions.
Oh, play it out.
No, actually, to be fair, I do play it out a lot. I'm not at
Yeah,
high enough of a level where people can actually
play
hold me
it
together.
out. Do you like White's activity more than Black's material here?
I mean, honestly, from what I've learned and seen, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I think.
I know, right? Because this is a beautiful move. Bishop g7 shuts down both the rook penetration
Mhm.
to h8, and the rook can't really go to like h7 profitably because the bishop just sits there.
Yeah,
He's like, "What up, dude?"
it's just such a blockader, and that's like the
Yeah,
whole atomic chess theme of like how
hmm
the bishop is like
lock
if
it
you
up.
yeah if you play like rook
Hmm
h2 or I guess rook h7 and then the bishop is like
He's
well
just in the way. There's
I'm
nothing to do.
I'm
He's like, "Cool, bro. Like, I'm not on pre. You're on pre."
yeah wait
Like,
it's not a French bishop though,
yeah, true.
if you know what I'm saying.
Interestingly, the French is one of the favored openings against e4,
Yeah.
but I've never liked it. As I've said, I like d5. So if you face an e4 player, check out both lines, see what's best for you. Generally, some e6, knight f6, or d5 are moves that most people play against 1e4. We didn't really get a lot of 1e4 games in this tournament,
Yeah.
and for a good reason. Knight f3 is just keeping an advantage for white. And again, with that prize pool on the line, people are playing a little more seriously.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be playing a little more
Mhm.
seriously? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, both of them are guaranteed a pretty cool payday.
It's true.
But like we said, we're beyond the payday now.
Yeah, no, it's brother. It's brother versus brother.
Yeah, this
Like,
is.
it's on. I want to play a4 with white, but black always meets it with b4, and that's super annoying.
Like this move. See, this move. What is it?
Leave it.
This move e4 is. It's just
You leave it because if you're black, white wants to activate his bishop via e3 or f4, but he can no longer do so long as there's a pawn here because you would be able to detonate it. So by leaving this tension, which is exactly what black does, you are continuing to fight against this configuration. Black is making the very real argument that these pieces are dead. You can't play a4 because of b4,
B4.
and this bishop can't come out so long as there's a pawn because of takes. So white cannot activate these pieces, and black will have time to improve his position.
And white's 5 seconds from flagging right as we speak. So,
That's not looking great.
oh my goodness. Okay, he moves, but now the bishop detonated. I assume you just
Maybe there was
detonate.
just nothing. Maybe there was just no better.
Yeah,
Maybe
you're
there's just
just
nothing better.
like you said, you're stuck.
The queen.
Boom,
Queen
boom,
comes
and now
in.
queen
Yeah,
comes
the
in.
queen's coming in. This is really. Oh no, that's not going to do it. Queen d5.
Queen d5. You're still
Queen
coming
d5,
in. Yeah.
yeah, queen d5. I think was maybe more precise because no matter what white plays, you're playing queen g2, and then it's game
That's it.
over.
GG.
But that's it.
Wow.
That is
Wow.
tied up.
And that's how
We're
you
tied
tie
up.
it up with the black
Yeah.
pieces. With the
This
black
is a
pieces to
do or die.
reset
Yeah.
everything. So
Big brother doesn't go down easy. Look, the younger brother, he jumped out. Big brother said, "Hey, that's cool."
yeah, that's a. I mean, I think it's the
But
stories all the time. I mean, yeah, and we got to chat. Yeah, it really is Jason Statham versus The Rock. Yes, that is
it
the current
really,
matchup.
yes,
And I mean, this is it. We talked about this. We had this earlier, actually, with Timofey, the older with Timofey, the older brother. He was in an Armageddon or in OT, or not OT.
he's had a long road. Yeah.
My brain is also starting to get scrambled. What I was going to say is
Boom.
that we had this one and a half situation where it's scary business. You have to take, right? You have to take here. The threats are too.
Hey,
Too great.
remember I told you about a queen b6 line in mainline theory?
Yep.
This is it.
This is it.
I
It's
told you
happening.
this existed. And the point is that if you detonate the queen, the bishop comes to b5 and the queen is captured back because after king f7, bishop d7 wins the material.
Yep. Wow.
I told you we would see mainline at some point, and here we are in the critical game. White is not messing around. Do you know why atomic players do not play this much? And why we see things like queen f6 on move 2 and all these other ways that black can kind of avoid this position? Because this is theoretically the most difficult thing to play against with the black pieces. White is forcing the issue here. He is not messing around. This is maybe the pinnacle of atomic chess theory, is this queen b6 line where black has a very narrow path and just a couple of key moments where he can deviate, and black did not deviate. So white's advantage is it's here. This is the line of atomic chess that you must, like, if you want to get into the weeds with it, you must know this.
Yeah. And this is some scary stuff, honestly, because
Yeah.
that black king is surrounded by its own pieces, and the one pawn that I want to push, which is the h pawn, is blockaded by my knight right now.
You know, and for everything I said about white retaining their advantage, black still scores wins here.
Yep.
It's not over. It's just that white has taken the most maximal approach to an advantage here. And now we'll see.
Yeah, and here, of course, pawn takes is impossible because queen
In
takes
general,
checkmate.
yeah, queen takes checkmate. Yeah. In general, probably don't take if you don't have to in atomic.
It looks that
Leave
way.
tension.
Yeah. Leave tension or push. Oftentimes it feels like people are
Pushing
pushing
is
and then
big.
creating pass pawns later on down
Absolutely.
the line. Right? Maybe
Because
not.
remember, they're never on pre.
Yeah. They're never
they're everything is booby trapped. Like
yeah.
on pre doesn't exist.
Everything is booby trapped. I mean, it's atomic chess, right? Every piece has bombs strapped to it.
Absolutely.
Except for the pawns, sort of.
Yeah, well, I mean, pawns may be more frustrating than anything because you're still like in the chess mode where you're like, that's 1 point of material, whatever, like sack a pawn, get activity. But in reality, the pawns are like
Super valuable.
incredibly critical, both in classical but also in atomic.
Yeah.
Wow, what a move. Beautiful.
And here we go. And just like last game, where our friend Dwayne The Rock Johnson, aka Timofey, the older brother.
Shout out, older brothers.
Yeah, shout out to older brothers. We're both older brothers, right?
I'm a younger
Oh
brother.
yeah, you're a younger brother. Yeah, that's why you're gonna have to learn today.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, let me tell you. But I mean,
Let me tell you.
oh man, okay, things are getting dangerous. I'm scared.
Oh,
With this infiltration.
wait a minute. You have to go rook G, yeah, rook G2, and now queen F3. How do you stop? Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
GG. Wow, and
And
that's
that's
it,
it.
folks.
That's
And
it.
that's it. Wow.
Wow. And with the black pieces in the most critical line in atomic
Back
theory.
to back black piece.
And
Wow.
I just want to say that, like, what a great day of atomic chess. And this is a beautiful way to end it because White brought the A game, the A
Yeah.
plus S tier, Queen D6 line, and Black still wins. So when someone tells you, if, oh, I don't play atomic because it's a win for White. No, no, it isn't. White is maybe better. White is definitely better, but it's never easy. It's never easy. And this shows that against the most critical line White can play. Black still takes the bag, takes the championship, and shout out younger brothers.
Yeah. Wow. The younger brothers, Matvey Rogov himself wins over his brother Timofey.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. I mean, one of the first things you told me about Atomic was the white pieces are just objectively they're a little stronger, especially with these top players. And to
Mm-hmm.
have not one but back-to-back black piece wins in the decisive final
It's
is pretty crazy.
huge.
It's
It's
pretty
huge.
crazy.
So yeah, if you're new to Atomic, hi, welcome.
Yeah.
Go out there and play. It's incredibly fun. If you're already part of the Atomic community, I hope you had fun. This has been a pleasure
Yeah,
to host with you, dude.
it's been absolutely amazing. And I mean, yeah, shout out to Greg. Um, my name is Max. This is Greg. We both work for chess.com. I work in the community
Mm-hmm.
team. Greg works in the community team in a way.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. With events and with community, yeah.
and he's our resident atomic chess GM.
Oh,
So and
no
I am
norms.
now, maybe I could say I'm like 1600 atomic after that. I
Oh,
gained like 300 rating points from
you're
this
so ready.
session.
You're ready to get in there. You're ready to get in there, man.
Let's look at the bracket one last time so we can have our
Mm-hmm.
say our GGs here. In the end, the favorite, A Wonder, was taken down by the eventual champion. So, you could say it was deserved. He really beat the top players. I mean, you can't say that he didn't beat all the top players, from Emilio to A Wonder to his own brother in the final.
Yeah. Crazy path. Definitely a hard road, and he earned it today. Takes home a cool $1,000 and bragging rights over
Bragging
his
rights,
brother
dude.
in the finals.
Bragging rights over the older brother. There are a few
Oh my
things better
gosh.
than that. There are a few things
How
better than that.
fast do you think the older brother's going to say, I let you win? How fast do
100%.
those
Now, he's
words
probably
leave his
already
mouth?
chatting it.
Yeah.
He's probably yelling from
He's
the other
probably already
room.
texted
Yeah,
him, right?
yeah.
Like, yeah, he's yelled it out. Like
Yeah,
it's
he's like,
those words are 100% leaving his mouth.
you got to be. So, let me make sure we get a raid in here before we head out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been great.
Oh, it's been fun.
It's been
A beautiful day of Atomic, and I could not have asked for a better way to finish. Not just because the younger brother won, ha ha ha, but also back-to-back black wins. Like Atomic is worth your time. It's
yeah.
very
It
fun.
goes to show, yeah, even at this high level, it's not. Yeah, I mean that's what chess is
It's
great
never.
for,
It's never.
and in all the levels, when it gets to that a little bit of shorter time. I mean, this is why Magnus loves the shorter time. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of have to rely on your feeling, your instinct, and bringing that queen in the way the queen was brought in, and just creating so many problems. Maffei
Mm-hmm.
wins it. Wow, $1,000 in the pocket, 750
Not bad.
for his older
Not
brother.
bad.
Not a bad call.
Losing to his brother has to sting, but I'm sure you play chess. You have to learn to deal with the sting of loss. I
Yeah,
think he'll be okay.
I think so too.
He has 750 reasons to be okay.
Right. All right. Well, I think we'll try and get a raid in. But for those of you that are not chess out, candidates tournament, 30 minutes. We're kicking off. 3 rounds
Get
to
in
go.
there.
This is it. I mean, Nepo first, Hikaru half point
Mm-hmm.
behind, Gukesh half
Mm-hmm.
point behind. On the women's
Mm-hmm.
side, we got 2 Chinese ladies fighting for that top spot.
Very fun.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, it was awesome streaming with you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that came out and viewed and played in the Atomic Chess Variance Community Series. And hopefully Greg and I will be back at it again with some commentary soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, it's on a break scene. Hopefully my mic isn't picking up. Dude,
with a new opening each month. Tuesdays, compete against other Untitled players in Untitled Tuesday. Battle your way to the top in Arena Kings on Wednesdays. Join the crazy fun of the Variance Community Series each Thursday. And finish the week off each Saturday with the blistering Community Bullet Brawl. All happening in the Community Club on chess.com. Looking for new ways to enjoy chess? Check out our schedule of chess.com community events today. Mondays, play rapid opening roulette and expand your opening repertoire with a new opening each month. Tuesdays, compete against other Untitled players in Untitled Tuesday. Battle your way to the top in Arena Kings on Wednesdays. Join the crazy fun of the Variants Community Series each Thursday. And finish the week off each Saturday with the blistering Community Bullet Brawl. All happening in the Community Club on chess.com. Looking for new ways to enjoy chess? Check out our schedule of chess.com community events today. Mondays, play rapid opening roulette and expand your opening repertoire with a new opening each month. Tuesdays, compete against other Untitled players in Untitled Tuesday. Battle your way to the top in Arena Kings on Wednesdays. Join the crazy fun of the Variants Community Series each Thursday. And finish the week off each Saturday with the blistering Community Bullet Brawl. All happening in the Community Club on chess.com. Looking for new ways to enjoy chess? Check out our schedule of chess.com community events today. Mondays, play rapid opening roulette and expand your opening repertoire with a new opening each month. Tuesdays, compete against other Untitled players in Untitled Tuesday. Battle your way to the top in Arena Kings on Wednesdays. Join the crazy fun of the Variants Community Series each Thursday. And finish the week off each Saturday with the blistering Community Bullet Brawl. All happening in the Community Club on chess.com. Looking for new ways to enjoy chess? Check out our schedule of chess.com community events today. Mondays, play rapid opening roulette and expand your opening repertoire with a new opening each month. Tuesdays, compete against other Untitled players in Untitled Tuesday. Battle your way to the top in Arena Kings on Wednesdays. Join the crazy fun of the Variants Community Series each Thursday. And finish the week off each Saturday with the blistering Community Bullet Brawl. All happening in the Community Club on chess.com. Looking for new ways to enjoy chess? Check out our schedule of chess.com community events today. Mondays, play rapid opening roulette and expand your opening repertoire with a new opening each month. Tuesdays, compete against other Untitled players in Untitled Tuesday. Battle your way to the top in Arena Kings on Wednesdays. Join the crazy fun of the Variants Community Series each Thursday. And finish the week off each Saturday with the blistering Community Bullet Brawl. All happening in the Community Club on chess.com.